With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Ever witnessed someone so fast on track you doubt you could ever be on their level? The mission of Advanced Motorsports is to demonstrate the speed is achievable for everyone. With the expertise of some of the best sim drivers in North America, we are set to release free content on social media and comprehensive guides on our website. For those seeking the ultimate experience, our Advanced Motorsport Institute and personalized coaching sessions are the way to go. No matter your level of experience, we invite you to follow us on our social media to learn to be fast.
It's a special venue for the PRL GT3 Fixed and Sprint Series, and it's in France. Hello and welcome to PRL GT3 action in Season 2, 2024, Round 5 of 9, happening at the Circuit de la Sarthe, the place of the 24 du Monde, the 24-hour of Le Mans. I'm Dylan Coyle, joined alongside Derek Watson for tonight's events. And oh boy, this is going to be a lot of fun. What a wonderful schedule that we have for both the Fixed and Sprint GT3 series. And of course, Le Mans is the cream of the crop. We take a look at it here, Derek, and there's a lot of standouts.
There's a lot of standouts, Dylan, but what stands out to me about this round here in Week 5 and in Week 9 is these are going to be tracks where the drivers are going to race themselves. It's possible you may not see a lot of traffic in these races, but think about next week at Sebring, think about Week 8 at Bathurst, or think about even Week 2 at Watkins Glen. You're always around somebody, but tonight, this is a race against yourself to not make a mistake.
And it's very easy to make a mistake at Le Mans. And we take a look at the standings. If any of the drivers up top make a mistake, that opens the door up. Tyler Graff with a slim 11-point lead over Jared Keane. Jim Feliz just 3 points back at Keane. I mean, this is a very tight fight for the championship. 4 drivers within 19 points of each other. And honestly, even down to 10th place, it's anyone's game at this point.
Yeah, look at Michael Fowler down there in P10. But let's see, Michael Fowler in the AM standings himself, P10 overall, but leads Sean Provost by only 5 points here. And then Ross Sortino is only about 25 points back. And then Jared Deploy back there in P4. And even back to Francis Parent, 1 point back. This is a very tight battle here, seeing as how we're halfway through a season. Now, mind you, the points will change a lot, as I believe after, is it this week, Dylan, that drop will kick in and everything will change a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. The standings will look a little bit different next time by, regardless of who wins, who doesn't at Le Mans today. We take a look at the pro standings, and they look fairly similar to the overall standings. Obviously, David Bush does sit in 10th place here. Of course, new this season, new this year, is the GT3 Pro and AM split in the fixed series. It's drivers with an I rating of 1,000 to 1,999 that are in the AM, and 2,000 to 2,999 that are in the Pro. We take a look at the team standings right now. Relatively close, obviously not as close as the driver's standings, but SRTE Yellow holds a margin, a good advantage right now over its sister team in gray.
Yeah, and you look on down, see B&O Cardomania, MadWorks, SGE Esports, Lunatic down there. A lot can still happen here as this season progresses. So lots to look forward to here at Circuit de la Sarthe.
100%. And at this time, I'd like to thank some of the partners that make it happen for RaceSpotTV and the Precision Racing League. And we start with Advanced Motorsports. Get ready to learn to be fast. Fast with Advanced Motorsports. Follow them on their socials to become a better driver. Advanced Sim Racing. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. All PRL members also get a 5% discount on ASR products using the Precision 5 coupon code. Racebox Sim Racing. Racebox offers mid and high-end button boxes for sim racing enthusiasts, from the casual gamer up to the most meticulous sim racing driver. Competitively priced and carefully handcrafted, our button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. Visit RaceboxSimRacing.com and get a 5% discount using the Precision 5 coupon code. The Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker products add incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seats. Muradness. Muradness is a performance lifestyle brand motivated by motorsport and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. And finally, Mr. Hedge iRacing Photography. Capture your finest, proudest, or simply worst moments from your hobby in up to 8K resolution. A great addition to any sim room. Well, it's a extended qualifying session here at the Circuit de la Sarthe, and I think that makes a lot of sense considering the fact that it is a very large track that uses both private and public roads. Private roads being the racetrack itself. Of course, there's the Bugatti circuit that lies within the actual official racetrack area, but it does use some of the public roads, especially on that long backstretch that's separated by just a couple chicanes. I mean, this is such a legendary racetrack, and these drivers are going to have a lot of chances to well, I'd say not as many chances to make moves in each specific corner. How about that? Burnout.
There was a move in that corner, right? Yeah, but you're right. This is a historic track where everybody wants to do well. You see Jason Finch here, part of SRTE Gray right now running in P10. But everybody feels the pressure to do well here, Dylan. No matter how new or veteran you are to iRacing, you want to do well here. This is one of those historic racetracks. It's like maybe like a Daytona or an Indianapolis to an oval driver. You feel that pressure when you come here. You feel that little extra something. You know, many magical moments in racing have happened here. There's, you know, in the past been magical moments across iRacing with special events, and just it's a great track, lots of story, lots of history. And You know, as you said, almost 4-minute lap times here, so lots going on.
Yeah, it really is historic in so many ways, and he's driving right now. They'll pretty much have a max of 2 more laps to complete. They'll get the chance to finish out their remaining laps, and we get a look at a new bit of VR goggles. Is that what VR headset is that?
Yeah, I don't know, actually. I was going to ask you the same question, so you beat me to it. We'll have to reach out to Michael Fowler post-race and find out what headset that is. I don't know.
I want to say it's the new big screen Beyond VR glasses, but I don't know. It is very small in stature.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? It sort of took after that camera shot that Bradley Holly gives us a couple times a week now with that. Bradley does it different with the webcam mounted to his headset, but Michael Fowler just went for the whole VR view to show us what he sees here. But look at his teammates now working together, and in his open qualifying formats, Dylan, that's not a bad thing to have a teammate to draft. There's a couple long straights here. There's the Mulsanne straight and a couple other spots where you can really get a good draft going and maybe benefit from working together.
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely smart for both Felix Feliz and Jared Keane to work together there. And Felix Feliz won last time out at Monza. Very solid race result for him. His first PRL victory. So congrats to Felix on that one. Still lots of drivers that could potentially win this overall and AM championship. As a reminder, the AM standings, they are counted by where drivers finish an overall classification per race. You don't get points for winning an AM class, you get points for where you finished overall. So that further complicates things where that standings is regarded.
Yeah, so lots of rules to keep in mind and lots of things for the drivers to know, but just go out here and do well. Listen, you know, other than maybe the I rating of a driver, there's no difference in the car. There's no difference in the setup. There's no difference about anything. There's nothing saying an AMP driver can't win this race. There's nothing saying an AMP driver can't have a great day. Maybe they love this racetrack or they've raced it multiple times and just know what they're doing. So this isn't like maybe a multi-class race that we do on Mondays. Here on board, this is Evan McKay. I think that was someone else's webcam there. We saw that earlier, but here's Evan coming around here through the last couple of corners. And about maybe, 10, 15 seconds from completing that lap here, he'll come into that last couple of corners, the Ford chicane. And this is, to me, one of the trees. There's Evan, by the way.
Look at that focus right there. Currently second in the AM class. Ross Sortino actually leads overall and leads in the AM class in qualifying. This lap time is going to be just a tick over 4 minutes in length. Does not improve on that time he set. You know, it's funny looking at his time right there was almost 2 seconds slower than the pace he had set. But over the course of 8.5 miles or just underneath it, it's still pretty solid time.
Yeah, that's really just a corner or two. As simple as that sounds, and this big of a racetrack, you can make up all kinds of time if you nail a particular corner or find a spot maybe to go a little wider than you thought was available to you here. With about 3 minutes left, take a look at Jim Feliz. His best so far is a 3:58.514. That puts him 8th on the board. Only about 0.6 of a second off of the pole, so just trying to find it here. By the way, Dylan, that big red building on the side, that's a Kentucky Fried Chicken. So if we get hungry middle of the show, I know what's for lunch.
Is it actually?
Oh, it really is. Yeah, in fact, it's even modeled in iRacing. That's literally a Kentucky Fried Chicken.
That's unbelievable. I never knew that. But I do know now, and I do know where we will be headed between the GT3 Fixed and GT3 Sprint Series races. Thank you for that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep, get yourself a couple pieces of chicken. I'm a leg guy. Chicken, I mean. I said it out loud. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. I meant that in chicken. Sorry, it's a weird comment. Let's move on. There's Cabana on screen right there, currently P26. And trying to get through this lap here. And I remember in the open qualifying format, qualifying could last a little longer, Ian, because if you're on a hot lap when the timer hits 0, the officials will allow you to finish that lap here. So
I was going to say
maybe a couple minutes over here. So officially a little less than 2 minutes, but maybe as many as 4.
I was going to say you had a case of foot in mouth, but it might be more of a leg in mouth situation.
Yeah.
Right there, Derek.
Yeah, that's not my proudest moment. Let's move on. Andrew Trickett, though, is trying to get up here out of 21st and had his lap sub 4 minutes, I thought I saw on the screen a second ago. So he's trying to find his way here in that 5:14 machine. And right now, you see him go down the Mulsanne straight. We're going through that one curve of two, each one going a different way.
Right now, we are currently seeing the Ferrari lead the way with Ross Sortino, and there is an Audi of Isaiah Osborne in P3, but second, fourth through 10th is all Porsche 911. So there's a big Porsche influence at the front of this field, even if it doesn't have as many drivers behind the wheel of one as in this season as we've usually seen in seasons past. And this qualifying is winding down, but like you said, there's still a chance we're going to have at least 4 minutes extra. Actually, it might even be less than that, depending on what the limit is. You might have to be on the second half of your final lap for it to count. Sometimes iRacing has that counter that starts counting down. You can't always start your lap at the very end and still make it around.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see here. And, of course, there's also the question about maybe, oh, there's Evan. That'll kill that lap. That's definitely an off track.
He was pushing.
He got around there a little too fast, trying to push, get that last time in. He will not get a lap in. He will not get around the time. So he is done in qualifying. So a P4 or 5, where he was last time I looked. P4, pardon me, is where he'll definitely finish at the most.
Every driver coming around now and through these last chicanes will finish their qualifying effort. Tyler Graff looking to get onto the pole. This is a solid lap, but it is not solid enough. Felix Feliz jumps into P3 over Isaiah Osborne and Evan McKay, so he'll start right now provisionally on the second row. Great qualifying time there for Felix Feliz, won the pole and got the win last time out. Sean Provost right now in 12th. He's just over a second back of Ross Sortino's time, coming through the final chicanes now.
Yep, going to come here through the 4 chicanes. One of the tightest sets of corners on the track, in my opinion, and definitely one of the no-pass zones under race condition. I think it's going to make this race interesting, Evan. Look at the sky. It's already dark, and we're still in qualifying. This is going to end up being, if not starting as, a nighttime race.
Was I just called Evan?
Did I do that?
Oh, man.
Wow.
Yeah,
I guess I know who I'm used to commentating with. Wow, that's, yeah.
You're used to talking
I am the Wish.com version of Arjuna Kinkapati tonight, because that was a big mistake.
Oh, man. Looks like qualifying has reached its checkered flag status right now.
Your name is Evan.
My new name is Evan. I mean, you're used to commentating over my Rex on Monday nights in RaceSpotTV's Real Sim Racing Series broadcast, but I digress. The starting grid is all set, and we are ready to go here with Ross Sortino getting pole position with a 3:57.9, and no, he's not in a Porsche 911. He's in a Ferrari with a time of 3:57.911. Tyler Graff is in a Porsche, as will be in second to start off here. Felix Feliz, Isaiah Osborne, Evan McKay, Sully Saad, your top 3 rows. We continue down with Jared Keene, Jim Feliz, John Jones, and David Bush, your top 10. Michael Fowler, Dale Peterson, your front 6 rows here with Sean Provost, Nathan Jennings, Tony Costello, Joachim Bacher, your front 8. Jason Finch, Colin McKenzie, 17th and 18th to start. Andrew Trickett and Joseph Carnes will start in the top 20. Andrew Venero and David Morse, 21st and 22nd, with Joey Costello and Sean Mulholland, 23rd and 24th. We continue moving down with Mark Kalin, 3 seconds off the pace, but still in 25th place with his effort in the Ford GT. Ian Cabana will be in 26th with Regan Chandler, Waldo Walden, Kevin Bergquist, and Ryan Chandler, your top 30 positions. Christopher Rhines, Robert Jeffries, Dave Peterson, Scott Jeffries, Quincy Carter, and Carlos Ocano, 6 seconds back in 36th. He was the last driver to set a time here in qualifying, but still Brett Thurman, Creighton Carter, Patrick Cowgill, Matt Hilton, Lucas Wynn, Kern DeGaulle, and William Fenson are still the balance of the field. The amount of drivers in this race, 43 officially. Will we see all 43 take to the grid? We sure hope so.
Yeah, that's not that many cars here, believe it or not. Look at the conditions on the track, 67 degrees Fahrenheit, so a fairly cool track, so lots of grip to be had here. As I said, already 8:33 p.m. in virtual sim time, so this likely will be finishing under the darkness. There's going to add another element to this racetrack, something that maybe a lot of drivers are familiar with who have done some special, 12, 6, or 24-hour events here in the past.
It will get to sunset at 9:02 p.m. It's 8:34 here, so it will definitely get much darker very quickly as this race continues on. It's not like the conditions are going to have much more of an effect later on in this race than they already will right now. It's cold, meaning it's going to be hard to get those tires up to temperature, especially, Derek, going out of some of the long straightaways here.
Yeah, and and the benefit, because there's going to be a small time jump here between the end of qualifying, which we're still kind of technically waiting on, and the beginning of the race. And the benefit for the drivers in that moment is going to be that if we start at sundown, if we start in the darkness, then there's not that moment somewhere on the track where the sun's going to be beating you in the face. As you're probably going down the Mulsanne Straight, it would be, I would think it would be, but it could be anywhere. It's sort of, track by track changes depending on what direction you're driving and whatnot. But, especially if you have HDR turned on in iRacing, when that sun beats you in the face, whether it be on a road course or an oval or what have you, it can really just make things incredibly difficult, just like it does in real life. So, it may be a benefit for these drivers to start in the darkness versus having to race the sun going down.
That is very true. We should find out in around 30 seconds or so exactly.
What is that play?
Wow.
That looks fun.
Something kid.
Looked like a playground. I'll be back.
All right.
I'm going to go inspect.
Okay.
I'm not back in a couple hours.
No, I'll okay, copy. There is, I'm pretty sure, the Le Mans Football Club, the soccer football team that does play in one of the higher French divisions, has their stadium is right within the confines of this racetrack, or at least right on the outside of it. Hopefully you are a big fan of football, Derek.
Of the football, yeah. I'm aware of. I don't sure I'd call myself a fan. I think that'd be lying to overstate that, but definitely aware of would be the right thing. Well, the cars have now hit the grid. We saw the grid a couple minutes ago. Luckily for these drivers, Evan, iRacing has a moment here where they get to line up just before the Purser curves.
I can't believe that.
Here. Am I doing it again?
You just
I'm so
me
sorry.
having...
Oh my god. I'm gonna drink the Red Bull. You do your monologue. I'll be right back.
That's crazy. Oh man, Derek is having himself a night already. I think 4 errors on the score sheet here, as in baseball terms. We're going through all the sports.
Hey, if there are errors, they're not. You can't count them as hits. That's all I know. That's what I know about baseball. If there are errors, they're not hits.
Good job.
MLB The Show taught me something.
It is fantastic for teaching you the game of baseball. But, as these drivers continue their grid up sequence, getting onto a shortened grid session, thankfully. We would have had a very long pace lap here if that was not the case.
Ooh, wouldn't it be a...
Oh man, it would be quite wild. 35 minutes here in the GT3 Fixed Series, 40 minutes later on in the GT3 Sprint Series, and the iRacing safety car is rolling. We are rolling, and we're just a little bit away from, give or take, 9 laps of racing action here at the Circuit de la Sarthe. I mean, if you're going to make moves, they're going to have to happen within the first lap, I'd say, because it's... Yes, you're going to get a big draft down the Mulsanne Straight, but even afterwards, there's so much time that you can cause separation that if you're in first, if you're a Ross Sortino, you got to make sure you don't make mistakes.
Yeah, so that'll be a big thing, Dylan, is to keep that in mind, and also managing the track temp and that sunset will be important, I believe, as well. So we're going to come here now down through the Porsche curves just after and get this pace lap going. And I think we're just about ready to find that green flag. This, of course, being the track that is supposedly the site of the last race in the Gran Turismo movie.
Supposedly.
Yeah, have you not seen the movie?
I have. Solid movie.
You know they're not actually at Le Mans in that race.
Oh, trust me.
Okay, there's this little last corner missing. I was like, that's not Le Mans. But anyways,
it's kind of like Ford versus Ferrari being at Daytona when they're really at the Auto Club Fontana.
Auto Club Homestead. Okay.
Or one of those tracks, whatever it is. Nonetheless, this is iRacing, and this is the PRL GT3 Fixed Series from Le Mans, the Circuit de la Sarthe, the famous home of the Vangater du Monde. And it's going to take 35 minutes to sort out who's going to win here in round 5 of Season 2, 2024 of the PRL GT3 Fixed Series, going through the final couple of chicanes, the Ford chicanes, and the safety car will peel off right there just before the final corner. Ross Sortino is going to get a fantastic jump, and we are ready to go racing here. Green is out, lights are on, and already Sortino is flying away from Tyler Graf.
We got some two wide racing coming down through the first couple of sets of corners here, and up through turns 1 through 6 is where these winding corners will take you. And now you see drivers start to get it up single file pretty quickly here and get in line and get down through Dunlop.
Oh, it's such an advantage to be in the first couple of rows on the start of this race just because of that. How that chicane works, you really can go single file through there, get a big jump, get the traction going early, and start to move as we go through the S's and then the Tetra Rouge onto the Mulsanne straight. This is where Tyler Graf will hope he's still within striking distance to get a draft from Ross Sortino, and that gap continues to grow a bit too much. Is Sortino already off to the races?
Yeah, Graf might want to back it up to Felix Feliz, and see if they can work that draft together and go catch Sortino. But right now, that's how they're headed to get down into the right-hander here at the Mulsanne straight.
Already 1 second out in front, Ross Sortino is over Tyler Graf. Not only leads the AM class positions, but also overall, as you see everyone roll into that first chicane as the daylight continues to lessen here in Le Mans, France. You see the headlights are illuminating the track surface as they still continue down single file. I mean, it's really separated a lot more than I thought it would through at least the first 10 or so positions.
Yeah, it's pretty separated pretty far here, and you'll see everybody kind of in line and see who wants to make what move when as we get down through that second chicane down the Mulsanne straight. And now we get up here into that's basically turn 13 for those who want to keep count. It's more of an American road course thing to use the numbers, by the way, but sometimes it's fun to see how many corners there are in a road course. But look at this, Ross Sortino, pardon me. Really just looks comfortable with that gap he has on Tyler Graf.
Getting a replay here of the start. What happened to Joey Costello? Oh, some contact between Costello. I believe that's the 38 machine of Andrew Venaro as well. Two Ferraris coming together through the Dunlop curve. That's not good for either of them. But as we continue moving on here through Le Mans circuit, I must say, this is where it really will get more difficult. Listen, Circuit de la Sarthe, it is a relatively simple track, but once you get to this final half of the circuit, the final third, especially going through these corners, Indianapolis, it gets much more difficult.
It's much more technical is what it gets. It gets a little bit more narrow. There's less room for error. The corners seem to have their own little personality back here. There's no long straight anymore. I said we just dealt with Indianapolis. We dealt with Arnage. Next up will be the Porsche curves. As you see the big Porsche sign there indicating that's where we're headed. Here's the battle for 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's Osborne, Sad, McKay, Jim Feliz, and John Bones Jones back there through PA. Look how tight this is here. I suspect someone back there is fuel saving and the undercut might be important as we get to that part of the race.
That is a significant thing to think about because it's not like there's 20-plus laps that we'll see these drivers race around this circuit where maybe 3 or 4 laps of pit stops will happen. It's going to happen either at the end of lap 4 or the end of lap 5. There's no question about that. It's just at the end of 2 laps here as we see a potential move going on right on board with Evan McKay. Jim Feliz going underneath him, going into the Ford chicane, and that's a clean move, but McKay kind of just gave it to him.
Yeah, there you go. The fast couple of chicanes, and then McKay will try to get back in line and see if he can make that pass back here. Look at how calm and stoic McKay looked right there. That's how he's done this track before. He knows where he is and what he's doing.
It's not necessarily comforting to Evan McKay to know that Ross Sortino is first overall in this race because, again, second in class, which McKay does really nothing. It's just the 7th overall in this points give out that matters the most. And McKay stands to lose a lot of ground to Ross Sortino if the point situation is held like this today. So, saw a move there. Nathan Jennings going, letting Tony Costello by in 11th on the leaderboard. We still ride watching with Evan McKay coming towards the Mulsanne straight. This is, there's the football stadium.
The football stadium, if you will. You know, you see some of the public signs because as Dylan said earlier,
what happened here to
well,
John
Jones?
Jones?
That's definitely a slowdown, and that was part of the drivers' meeting talk that they had in the pre-race. Dylan, your name is Dylan. I'm going to get that right.
Is that the 3rd time?
That's at least the 3rd time.
Okay, third baseball strikeout, out 3.
I'm out. Part of the pre-race driver pre-race talk was about, you know, serving your slowdowns at an appropriate point. There's plenty of places on this track where if you try to serve your slowdown, you could be in the way. As the admins made it a point to talk about, don't serve it in the way, and Michael Fowler just got it around there, made a 720.
Was that a BMW that got together with him? Couldn't quite tell who that was, but
I think he just got a little too excited on the gas pedal, actually. I think he's got a little too eager to slam on the gas there and sort of loop the car around himself, but that back of that car said bad vibes. And, well, that's a good way to describe what happened to him.
Rewatching from my screen what happened, still can't quite tell who it was, but it definitely was a BMW that he made contact with. Might have just gone into the corner a little bit too hot, and there wasn't room on the outside for him, and that might be a self-caused issue for Michael Fowler. But we've got a battle for second, as it seems like Sortino is really pulling away now, 2 seconds up on Tyler Graff. But Felix Feliz is only 7/10 back of Graff.
Yeah, only that much back, you're right. And that sounds like, you know, not that much. And it's not. What these guys I thought would do is I thought they would team up and find a way to grab each other back up to Sortino. But Sortino's really quickly pulling away, over 2 seconds already, about, 8 minutes into this race.
It's getting darker out, too. You can tell the lights are starting to illuminate in front more. That cone is more viewable. It's going to get much more difficult for these drivers to see.
And the challenge in that, Dylan, and what happens there is that, you know, you've been practicing in the daytime, you qualified in the daytime, so not just the track temperature. That's one challenge. But the second challenge is in your head. You start to make markers on the track, whether it be signs, billboards, cones, what have you. Hold on the spot. Let's look at Quincy Carter. That's another slowdown. He's going to get it off in the very left-hand lane there, up on the shoulder, serve that slowdown. But you start to make these kind of mental points in your head. Maybe cones, or signs, markings on the track. Something becomes a braking marker. It becomes a marker of when to get over or when to do this or when to do that. When night falls, those markers are harder to find. It can cause you to make a slip up very, very easily.
We're talking all about the slowdowns that we keep seeing. There's a lot of appetizing looking cuts that you can make through this course. I mean, just look through the chicane right there. Easy to make a cut and get a slowdown very quickly, especially when you're being chased, as is happening right now with David Bush and Jared Keene. Keene in the 222 machine trying to make a move on Bush for 8th place. Lost a couple tenths there through the final chicanes. He was right there on the rear of Bush, and we see Finch as well trying to run away from Andrew Trickett.
Yep, and there they are again, 13th and 14th overall. That close together here in this part of the race here. And Trickett's really all over back in the Finch. Not sure if he's trying to make the pass or if he just wants Finch to feel the pressure and see if Finch will flinch and make something bad happen.
Finch to flinch. I like
I got that through without like in the process too.
That was a solid recovery. I mean, you still have a lot to make up for, but so far, pretty solid right there, Derek.
The rest of the show, you're going to be Justin, you're going to be Lorenzo. I'm going to get every commentator name at RaceSpot except for yours.
All right, Daniel. We don't have a Daniel. Jared Keane.
I say, do we have a Daniel? Did I not miss somebody? Did I miss orientation day recently? I was like, man, what happened there?
Man, I don't think we do have a Daniel. But Jared Keane did try to make a move on the outside on chicane entry. Would have had the inside track coming out of the chicane. Obviously did not work for him right there. But only 3+ tenths away. And again, in the slipstream.
Yeah, and with these being fixed setups, you know, they're not maybe always as set up for that kind of slipstream as maybe the cars will in the next race when the setups are open. So, you know, a slipstream is never typically as strong as what you and I think of it on the oval side, or a slipstream could really just make a humongous difference here. Let's take a look. This is William Finson. Got the oh no, look in the back there. That's the blue and orange car. Sorry, I was looking at a purple car, but Finson just got it looped around there and does get it going eventually. Here's another one. Oh, that's Okano. Wow. Oh, I think he missed that wall.
He did. That could have been a race ender for sure, but
he's still
towed.
Why? Dude, I'm telling you what, you could set that up 100 more times, that same exact spot, and maybe not get to that close to that wall without hitting it again. That was pretty impressive, and not the way Okano wants to be on a broadcast, but highlights are highlights.
That's certainly the case. This battle for second starting to heat up a little bit more. Feliz is catching Tyler Graff at a rate of a couple tenths per sector here at Circuit de la Sarthe, and Sortino's still holding firm with that 2.5 second advantage. It did come down a couple hundredths there, but nonetheless, Feliz is flying.
Yeah, he certainly is. Having a great run here. Really just trying to keep up with Tyler Graff and maybe make something happen at the appropriate moment. Well, as this race goes on, what we're going to find out, Dylan, is who can and cannot save tires. A track like this, tire preservation is ultimately important, especially in a race like this where they're not going to have time to take tires on pit road. They're going to run this whole 35-minute race on the same set of tires. We could see a couple of drivers move up the field late who are able to save more tires than the drivers who can't.
This is very true, but you also have to think about the fact that temperatures are down, right? So how much is that going to really affect this the life of these tires? I almost feel like almost not at all. Is it going to hurt them?
I mean, that may be, but any amount of fresh tires will always, you know,
that's true.
A driver will want them, even if they don't think they're beneficial. So we'll wait and see here how that plays out. About 23 minutes left on the clock, about 12 minutes in here. So we're about 4 laps in other words, about 4-minute lap, a little less for the leaders is what we're talking about right here. There's another car starting to slow down right there. You saw it just on the left side of your screen, right side of the track. And that's a lot of things happening here. Look at the big movers of this race so far. Tony Costello up 5, even after that contact. Jason Finch up 4, and Andrew Trickett up 5.
Yeah, Tony Costello making some big moves, as well as Joseph Carnes. Mark Kalin, too. You got to give him credit. Up 9 positions into the top 20. Good on him. Only a couple drivers out of this race, or is towed back. Oh, Jared Keane was chasing down David Bush. That is most likely a race ender. Massive damage to the front end there.
It's at least going to affect his finishing spot by a lot. Got the car moving here and seems to be okay. No obvious wobbles or wiggles from the suspension being broke, but there's different iRatings, means for different classifications in the points. These drivers are ultimately equal at times and can really race with one another all day long.
Look at this. This is a battle for fifth. Solisad, Jim Feliz, and Evan McKay. Oh, Feliz just lost a couple spots. Evan McKay trying to go side by side with him and hold the position. Still side by side, but that outside line really did seem to work for Evan.
Oh, I see. So you can say Evan, but I can't say Evan. I understand how this works.
I mean, listen, I didn't call him Derek McKay.
Fair enough.
Oh, man. Too good. Too funny. There are 20 minutes remaining in this race, and I'm assuming we're going to start to see pit stops start either at the end of this lap or the end of lap 5 as these 3 drivers have a few car lengths in between them, but Solisad into the top 5 with those set of moves. Evan McKay starting to ever so slightly drive away now from Jim Feliz, and he got a good bit of traction coming out of that corner there.
Yeah, did a great job there. And, you know, this is a track really where you could get a lot of moments from Mr. Hedge. You've seen a few already, in fact, this race. Dylan, just some spectacular passes or maybe some wall hits you don't want to remember. There'll probably be a couple spectacular side-by-side moments before either this race or the sprint race is over.
Yeah, I'm sure there absolutely will, as Evan McKay getting a lot of coverage. You can always provide, these drivers can always provide their in-car, in-rig cameras, and that way they can ensure that they will be shown a lot more often on the broadcast. Helps us out, and we hope that it helps the drivers out as well. This collaboration between RaceSpotTV and the PRL is massive, and there's already cars going down pit lane. Yeah.
And really an odd-shaped pit road entrance, too. I hope we get to see it at some point. It's not a straight-in entrance. There actually is a little bit of a curve you have to take to get in there. And, of course, that big green Rolex sign serves as the lighting for the entrance at night. So now we see the cars making that very slow crawl down pit road here. Dylan, I'm going to... It is 37 miles an hour. Or 53 kilometers per hour. Compared to the speeds you're going on the rest of this track, 37 is basically crawling.
That's crazy. Oh, 37 miles per hour is indeed a
it's
speed.
Like an American school zone, basically.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we're going to Dover Motor Speedway this weekend in NASCAR competition, and that pit road speed limit is 35 miles per hour. So it feels like you're crawling when you have to go down during a green flag pit stop. Battle for third will continue on. Solisad, remember, was running in 5th, but because of the pitters, that is what has put Saad onto the final step of the podium. For the moment, Evan McKay is still staying within striking distance of him, though.
Yeah, doing a great job staying within that striking distance. Now the question will be, you know, can Feliz do anything on his pit entrance? Can he get a little bit hotter, maybe, you know, get off a little hotter or something to make, you know, his pit road time delta a little less? Can he make up any time on Ross Sortino on pit road? See, everyone here down through 12th has not pitted. That's what the 0 indicates. Other than that, everyone else should have 1 when this race is over. This is a one-stop race by far, especially for the time length we're at here. So that's where we'll be. Under normal conditions, under a full fuel tank, these cars can run about an hour on a stint of fuel. But of course, with that limited 40% fuel tank here in the PRL, they can't go quite that long.
No, not at all. But if we talk about the pit lane times from some of these drivers, Tyler Graff notably 14.8 seconds. Jim Feliz had a 13.9 second in stall time. Altogether, they should be down pit road for give or take 46 to 48 seconds. And I say pit road, but it is sports car racing, so you know I should be saying pit lane.
Yeah, that's that oval terminology in our heads, right? Where we're going to say those things like that. But here we go. Sully said a privateer does not have a team in this league against Evan McKay, who was part of SRTE. And there's a potential pass here. Nope. Thought they were going to make it happen, but decided to back out of it and try for it in a different corner here.
You know, once I got crucified, when I used to announce for the World of Outlaw late models for saying garage area instead of pit area, it's the different terminology. And we were at Bristol Motor Speedway with dirt, and I called it the garage instead of the pit area, and I was told, never say that again. And I said, I'm sorry. Oh, man. Pit area, garage area, the paddock. It's all the same thing.
All the same thing. That's exactly right. Well, here is this battle now down through, I believe, the Porsche curves where they just went down through. Turns 23 and 24. You know, some of these corners, as a commentator, we love them, Dylan, because it's so obvious to see what they are, right? There's obviously Dunlop with the big Dunlop tire towards the start of the track. There's the Porsche curves with the Porsche, stuff on it. Everyone knows the Mulsanne Straight. This is a beautiful racetrack for a commentator because some of the corner names are just a breeze.
Yeah, 100%, and those corners right there are so fast and flowing, and you see the 16 of David Busch heading, yeah, all of them are going down pit lane. I mean, we expect everybody who has not pitted to come down for fuel right now. The top 5 have certainly done that. 6, 7, I mean, this pit lane will be massively busy. Could see some potential collisions in it. You know, those final corners, though, they're so fast and flowing, and when you get them right, they are so satisfying as a driver, as the balance of the field does come down into the pits. So the drivers who have not, like Tyler Graff, is he able to jump Ross Sortino coming out of the pits? Sortino does not have to get that extra lap of fuel, though, remember.
Yeah, that could be a big difference here in how long they sit on pit road and what the overall pit stop time and what the overall pit delta is. So we'll wait and see. Here comes the cars now exiting, and we'll see how everybody blends out and where they come out together here. You see all the pit stop times on the side.
Ross Sortino was in the pit box for 18 seconds. Felix Feliz was in the box for 18 seconds as well. Tyler Graff is right on Ross Sortino now within 1 second. Can he get a good run going onto the Mulsanne Straight? I mean, he's got, the tires are the same, but they're maybe heated up just a little bit more. And look at that. The gap is now down to 6/10. It's on.
Yep, and now it's the difference in how you get on pit road, how you get off pit road, how much time you need to get gas in that car. That's how you can make up a lot of time in a race like this, is how you handle pit road or pit lane or whatever you want to call it here. But here they come now down the Mulsanne Straight. Remember, first is the right-hand chicane. You can see some markings on the road here. They're going backwards down what the road says, so that's why the corner markers are confusing. And here it is. Here's the first one. But, man, look at Sortino already pulling
he got wide.
a gap there, but got wide. But it looks to be pulling a gap here.
Oh, man, I will say Sortino got quite wide. That gap extended on corner entry into the chicane, but because he went in so deep, he did not get the speed he needed to come out of it. The gap is still half a second between Sortino and Tyler Graff. As a note, Felix Feliz right now is on the final step of the podium, around 2 seconds in front of Jim Feliz, who is having his own battle with Isaiah Osborne for 4th.
Yeah, but look how much pressure Tyler Graff has put on here since that pit stop. Now what he's trying to do is just be a menace. He wants to be visible in that mirror. He wants to be there, put the pressure on, make you nervous, whatever terminology you want to use. That's the goal here. Maybe not pass Sortino, maybe not ever dive bomb it, maybe never make the pass, but be there and put it in your head that I could do it, and see if Sortino can slip up and you make a mistake, you make a pass that way.
Osborne in the 7 trying to force a mistake from Jim Feliz, and Feliz definitely went wide there. Osborne's going to have a run on this shorter straightaway before we move into the Porsche curve. This is a big run for 4th position underneath the Rolex and then Toyota signs. I mean, it's a Porsche on Audi battle right now, and Osborne in the Audi might get the move done. He was looking, taking a peek. Not close enough, though.
Man, at one point, it looked like he was ready to bump traffic down the straight there. Maybe more of an oval race thing happening there, but he kind of backed it up a little bit. Did not want to make the contact here. There's another car. That was Tyler Graff. I'm not sure if he was just... No, it wasn't Tyler Graff. One of Graff's teammates, I think we saw. I think he was slow out of the corner. Maybe it's just a bad camera angle. I couldn't tell.
Might possibly have been that. So we ran through Indianapolis, and now we run through these fast-flowing corners we were just talking about. Porsche curve, obviously. You make this right-hander, a left-hander. It's so quick through here, but it's very easy. Look at that safer barrier type wall. It's so easy to make a mistake. You don't often see safer barriers at road courses, especially in Europe, but that is certainly one right there as they move. Oh, here's a replay. Scott Jeffries, bang, race over there.
Yeah, that's a hard hit from Jeffries. Looked like he caught the curbing in the last corner and then just threw the car out of whack, and he never really got it held up, and that car was all cattywampus, and into the wall it went.
Great word.
Cattywampus.
Great word. I love that.
And you know what? You can't actually, it's probably not word in the dictionary, but you know exactly what it means.
I absolutely can empathize with your need to say words that are not words, but they sound like they fit in a situation. Yeah. Onomatopoeias, sort of. Russ Sortino has won 3 races in GT competition, and overall in his PRL career, he has around 3 more laps to try and get it done. Here's the battle for 7th. David Busch, Tony Costello, Evan McKay, and now Nathan Jennings has involved himself in this battle for 7th. I mean, Sully Saad not too far in front. You can see him starting to enter into Tetre Rouge and the Mulsanne Straight just ahead. But this is a 4 to 5 car battle, all happening in the second half of the top 10.
Yeah, great battle happening right here. And see the 2 different classes together. See the AMs, in fact, leading the pros. So you see 2 and 2 there. Now we'll see an attempted pass here down this straight. If you head to that chicane on the right-hand side. Is he completed or is he back out of it? Or sorry, it's a left hand. Yeah, that was I'm camera confused.
It's all. This is
I don't know what corner I'm in. I don't know what your name is.
Yeah, it's okay. Not everyone can have a perfect game every single time. There's a This Is ESPN commercial that I'll show you after the fact. It's the perfect game, the perfect show, and how about the perfect move happening down the Mulsanne Straight? Could we see 2-3 wide? It's going to stay 2 wide, entering the second set of chicanes here on the Mulsanne Straight, and that is a clean move done, or at least position kept right there. It's David Busch getting it done with Tony Costello trailing in behind, but Costello got the run and is going to try to make a move through the Mulsanne kink into the Mulsanne corner. It's a hard 90-degree right-hander. If you don't have the optimum line, it is hard to get it done there.
It can be very, very hard to get it done there, and I think he's going to not get it done here.
Crossover.
Out of it a little bit. Get the crossover, though, maybe. Let's take a look. This is going to be Robert Jeffries, and just got the car loose. No one around him. Just maybe a little too fast. Took the corner a little too aggressively, and got looped around. That'll likely be the end of his race. Here's a Lucas win. And not sure where he ended up there. Take a look at the Michelin signs.
I don't think he knew where he ended up either.
Yeah, maybe not.
7.5 minutes to go here. The 8:03 of Robert Jeffries way back in the field. And we have a move for P1. Tyler Graff has gotten by Ross Sortino in the last couple set of quarters. And this is the first time in this race that Ross Sortino has trailed.
Well, now Tyler Graff can see all that open air in front of him. Now he gets to set the pace, set the path, set the braking markers. Let's take a look at the pass and see how it happened here. Out of this corner, Tyler Graff just got an amazing run. And I think
it was a slowdown.
Had to slow down. Yeah, absolutely. That he was very slow there coming down what I believe to be the Mulsanne Straight here.
I want to say they both did.
It looks that way, doesn't it? Because it wasn't really coming that fast up there, but then Tyler Graff got around there. And look at how much that gap has closed back to third. That's why I think you're right. I think both drivers had that happen. So that put Feliz, actually both Felizes, back in the game here.
Yeah, that was absolutely a slowdown for both drivers, which hurt Sortino more than it did Tyler Graff as we come to 2 laps to go here at the Circuit de la Sarthe. Still this battle for 7th. What an awesome race we have got on our hands, and it's just gotten a lot more interesting. Costello through the first of the Ford chicanes, trying to hold position, make that Audi as wide as possible against David Busch in the Lambo, the top running Lamborghini in this field, and the Porsche of Evan McKay in 9th.
So we probably should talk about this for a minute. I know a lot of family and friends watch these shows. Maybe they're not, racing experts. They don't understand what a slowdown is. So there are parts of the track you can cut where maybe either you did or iRacing thinks you gained a time advantage by taking that shortcut, basically. Looks like a Mario Kart style move, maybe not that exaggerated. And the officials in iRacing will slow you down and say, hey, you need to get that time back. You can't just go cutting the course here. And there are some pretty well-known spots on the track the drivers will know where they can't do it. And so what happens is you have to kind of slow your speed and give it the time when that happens to you. Let's watch here David Morse. That's not even a slowdown, that's a stop. What is that?
That's a blind corner.
That looks like maybe that was the aggressive side of serving a slowdown. He must have been out of time. You only get, I think it's 30 seconds to serve your slowdown, and at which point it turns into a black flag. So if possible, Morse just ran out of time to serve it and just pumped the brakes as hard as he could.
That's just a bad spot to serve the slowdown through a blind corner right there with under 5 minutes to go here. Ross Sortino, it seems like he's thrown away this win. It's now 2+ seconds behind Tyler Graff, who not only leads this race, but leads the championship standings. This is a huge swing here in...
I was going to say, isn't that swing crazy? And I know you're talking about the swing in points, but the swing in time here of these two drivers, this, 5-10 minutes ago, was the complete opposite, with Graff being 2 seconds back. So we're talking about a 4-second swing. Now, granted, we think there's some slowdown shenanigans involved, but the fact how fast Sortino fell back is crazy to me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it is quite wild. Sortino, I mean, it's kind of the theme, right? He's had some awesome runs. He was running very well at Monza, was chasing drivers late, but made his own mistake, and it caught him out and ended up with a pretty poor finish, all things considered, at Monza. Here, he's leading 7 laps out of 7, even after pit stops. He had a much longer pit lane time altogether. Actually lost 3.4 seconds to Tyler Graff in the pits. And I mean, that ended up being where the pressure came from, as Sortino, is this another slowdown, or is Jim Feliz and the rest of the group just absolutely applying the pressure? Sortino might drop back even outside of the podium.
It might just be that Sortino now is frustrated. Now maybe the mental game is coming into play. It's not a slowdown. And maybe this is more of like, I'm frustrated, I'm making bad moves. I'm annoyed that I had to slow down. And that mental game you play with yourself can be just as important sometimes as what happens, with driving the car. You can get really mad at yourself and really forget every marker that you had here. Well, listen, here we come around here for the second to last time, as these guys are about to take the white flag from Barney the Flagman in about 20 or 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's going to be a white flag here one more time around this 8.5-mile racetrack, where it is definitely darker than it started when this race did get underway. Just after 9 o'clock, as Patrick Cowgill, oh no, what a horrible re-entry from Cowgill right there, it seemed.
Our PRL Truck Series.
Oh,
leader! Oh no.
Oh no. That is one of the worst ways to get back on the racetrack, and that should be some post-race penalties right there.
There'll be some discussions about that. There'll be some discussions about the re-entry, respecting local yellows, and many other things involved there. Well, white flag is out. As we said, for the final time, they're going to come through the corners here, 1 through 7, and then begin to make their way around to the Mulsanne Straight. So if Sortino, Feliz, and Osborne have anything planned for a super draft, it has to happen right here.
Sortino, I think, just got another slowdown, at least through those corners. He's going to get past here on the Mulsanne Straight easily by 2 drivers and fall out of the podium almost. They are potentially going 3 wide here. This is not going to work out the way any of them want it to work out. A bit of bump drafting, and Sortino is down to 5th place.
Wow,
look at this. Look at this.
Ending for Sortino. Well, let's get back to that. Watch this. This is Feliz. This is Osborne. This is Feliz. Wasn't Osborne sandwich for a second.
Azrea Osborne into third, Jim Feliz into second. Felix Feliz has just sat in fourth place through all of that. I mean, they were almost 3 wide heading into the first part of the chicane. I imagine they're going to be just as close heading into the second chicane here for the final time on the Mulsanne Straight as the lights are on, illuminating from the race cars, these GT3 machines. It's been a solid race, and pulling to the outside here, a bit of a block from Jim Feliz. Azrea Osborne looks to the inside, can't commit to the brakes to get a move done, is going to hope for a bit of a crossover. Going a bit wide on exit is Jim Feliz. Osborne gets the run now, going through the Mulsanne Kings.
Now Osborne has to ask himself the question, is he happy with P3 or does he have to make the move? The danger in making that move. The danger in making the move is you make this wrong, you could go from P3 to P5 pretty quickly here. But here they are side by side down this straight.
It's going to be a big advantage right here to the driver who can get it on the outside and swap back over on this straightaway. Osborne could not get the position from Jim Feliz, but Felix Feliz and Ross Sortino took optimal lines right there. All 4 drivers under a blanket for the final 2 podium spots as Tyler Graff continues to just roll away with the race win.
Yeah, Tyler Graff is happy to see this happening in the mirror behind him. Now that he's run his race, don't be super aggressive, don't make any mistakes, and this victory will likely be yours. Here they come now through Indianapolis. Corner named after the track in North America due to the shape and length of the corner. Now down through Ornage for the final time. And everything looks to have calmed down a little bit here because now there's a gap between Feliz and Osborne.
It's not going to be completely calm, I don't think, coming through that Ford chicane. Who's going to make some late lunges? Who's going to be the last of the late breakers? A lot of sweeping corners coming up the Porsche curve among them. A battle for second among 4 drivers. Can anyone make a move here on Jim Feliz? Azrea Osborne still trying to look to the inside and to the outside. One more potential pass can be made, and it's going to have to be in the first entry to the Ford chicane.
Yeah, that's the most likely point here, short of Feliz making a mistake, is right into those Ford chicanes and see if you can just kind of make something and force something in that moment here. But I think Osborne's too far back to make that dive. Let's find out here, because here's that moment that you're looking for.
It's the moment to make the pass for second. It's not appearing on Tyler Graff. Just a couple more corners to go. He's going to steal a win away from Ross Sortino. Sortino is going to have to settle for 5th place as Jim Feliz and Azrea Osborne get 2nd and 3rd. Sortino, no, he crossed the line. There were slowdown penalties. Wait a second. What happened there? Are we still going?
See, no, I think we're done.
You saw the positions changed as they crossed the line before recertifying themselves. Feliz and Osborne, 2nd and 3rd. Felix Feliz and Ross Sortino, 4th and 5th, separated by just 1 second in total, 2nd to 5th.
Yep, so there you go. That is your top 5. You see some cars going around flashing those headlights almost to celebrate the fact that they survived this tough and enduring and grueling racetrack here in France.
Just wait till they have to go to the Nordschleife, the last race of the season, if they thought this was grueling.
Yeah, that'll be and of course a very familiar race.
Oh, look at this. They're still trying to make some moves at the end of the lap, and that was a pass in the 25th place position that did not get on for one of the drivers involved there. Remember, it's still a long track. There's still a lot of battles and a lot of drivers still trying to finish. I see, there's Patrick Cowgill trying to make a move, and down the order, there's multiple drivers just a couple tenths off, but it seems like they're all starting to finish it up on our timing screens. And here are the provisional results. Tyler Graff by 2 seconds over Jim Feliz. Azrea Osborne puts the Audi on the final step of the podium. Felix Feliz gets 4th, and poor Ross Sortino, 3.1 seconds off the lead. How long was that pit lane time against Tyler Graff? It was 3.4 seconds longer. Oh, that was the difference there. Sully Saad will finish 6th. Tony Costello, David Busch, 2nd and 3rd in the M classes. Evan McKay and Nathan Jennings, who get 9th and 10th overall points in this race. Jochen Bacher, Joseph Carnes, Andrew Trickett, Jason Finch, John Jones, Jared Keane, Christopher Rhines, Kern DeGaulle, Brett Thurman, and Matt Hilton your top 20 drivers: Sean Mulholland, Sean Provost, Reagan Chandler, Colin McKenzie, Ryan Chandler, your top 25, with Dave Peterson all within 1 minute of the leader. Ian Gabbana, Andrew Venero, Lucas Nguyen, and Patrick Calgill, drivers who have all had issues in this race, finished in the top 30. While Michael Fowler, William Fenton, Creighton Carter, Waldo Walden, Robert Jeffries, Kevin Bergquist, Scott Jeffries, Dale Peterson, and Mark Kalin. Oh, Mark was having a great race. What happened to him? Finish in the top 39, all in the lead lap, while David Morse finishes 40th. 1 lap down, Carlos Acano, Quincy Carter, and Joey Costello. All issues on the same lap and finish 41st through 43rd, 6 laps down. Isaiah Osborne with the fastest lap on lap 7 of the race. It was the only time that broke into a 3:57.6 mark. Well, we do have drivers that are getting ready to come into the booth, and Derek, you're standing by with our race winner in Tyler Graff.
Well, Tyler, congrats on the win here. What an amazing race you had here today at this racetrack.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I've been working my butt off to win one of these things. This is actually my first win, period, in a GT3 car. So that's kind of cool. It was a good race. It was a little bit of a chess match between Felix, myself, and Ross for a little bit, and I actually thought Ross had gotten away. It was between Feliz and I, but I guess something just went my way in the pit stop, or he had to take more fuel or something, and then I was just able to keep the pressure on him.
Well, I think the important question to ask you is what we perceive to be from the booth, and maybe you can confirm. It looked like both of you had to slow down at the same spot, and either yours was less or you handled it better, and that's how you took the lead.
So the first slowdown he got, I just got through the corner, and I wasn't really sure where he was going to put his car. So when we went into the corner, I kind of saw him. I saw the cut, so I was like, okay, it's going to be somewhere. So I hesitated a little bit just to not run him over. And then on the second one, I think we were just racing hard, and you gotta try to be the last of the breakers, and I've been there. We've all done that. So.
All right. Well, listen, great job. It's a great win. Your first GT3 win in a race at a very historic racetrack. So I think overall it's a pretty successful Tuesday for you.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, I've been working my butt off for this. I just want to thank my friends at MadWorks, always behind me. Good group of guys, and this is exciting. My goal is to come here and hopefully do this. So I guess we'll set our sights on the next goal.
There you go. Well, listen, great job tonight, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right, that's your winner, Tyler Graff, comes home P1, Dylan.
Yeah, 100%. Tyler Graff, a fantastic drive for him there as we continue rolling on through with Jim Feliz as our P2 finisher. Jim, fantastic job getting that second. It definitely seemed like it was coming down to the wire for who would even be on the podium there. How intense were those final few laps?
Yeah, pretty intense. I think Israel was kind of working with me there. He gave me a few kind of nice little bump drafts to help kind of catch up to Felix. He kind of caught a slowdown, I think, and we were able to get by him. And then, I think Israel fought right back with the fastest lap afterwards. And, before you knew it, we were 4, 5 all battling for the podium there at the end. So very stressful, but obviously very happy with the second place.
Obviously, this is pretty big when it comes to the Drivers' Championship. Tyler winning does not necessarily do you any good, but finishing in second definitely keeps you within striking distance as we move on to the second half of this season. Now, of course, the second half will be quite difficult. You've got Sebring, and of course, the Nordschleife is the final race of the year. There's no drop week for the Nordschleife. So how do you approach the next few races knowing that the green hell awaits you at the end?
Yeah, I think you just take it one race at a time. Sebring's up next. That's the track I like, so I'm really looking forward to that one. And, the second place today, congrats to Tyler on the win, but it was the second place that kind of felt like a win moving up from P8. Limiting the points that the Graf could kind of add to me, and you know, we'll see. You can't drop the Nürburgring, but once the drop weeks on the other races shake out, who knows?
All right, Jim, anyone you want to give a shout out to for your iRacing performance?
Yeah, just shout out to my friends and family. I really appreciate their support. It's always great having them watch the broadcast, and you guys put on a great show.
Why, thank you very, very much, Jim. Congratulations on the middle step of the podium. We'll see if you can compete for the championship in the next 4.
All right, thanks, Dylan.
Not a problem. Jim Feliz, of course, finishing second at the Circuit de la Sarthe and finishing in 3rd from this race is Azrea Osborne. And Azrea, you had a really solid run there, set the fastest lap of the race, and it seemed like you were kind of playing a bit of catch-up ever since the start, but it definitely all captivated everybody with that last few lap battle that you had.
Yeah, the race didn't start out too well. I mean, we were all just trying to give each other space at the start of that race. But yeah, it was a catch-up game, and I honestly did not think I was going to make it to the end of the race. And yeah, the whole season has been a struggle so far, but I guess today I was able to do something right, and yeah, try to work with Jim the best I could and catch up to the pack, and yeah, it worked out well.
Well, Azrea, I know it hasn't necessarily been the season that you've hoped it would be so far, but being on the 3rd step of the podium while Jared Keene and Jay Steffi don't necessarily have races that they're looking happily at, Jay not even in the race today, it gives you a chance to move up in the standings, of course, with the first drop week being counted in the standings after this one. What is a successful season to you?
Getting top 5 so far, because I had a rough off season just with life and everything, so it was hard to get going in the season. And I really wasn't even looking to get top 10 this season, honestly. But I mean, after this race, I feel like I can actually carry some better momentum to till the end.
Well, it definitely seems like that momentum is starting to shift towards your direction. Anyone you want to give a shout out to, give thanks for your performance?
Oh yeah, just my parents and my nephew. He's my coach and spotter, and yeah, just the whole family and my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
All right, Azrea, congratulations on the 3rd place finish. We'll see you next week, and respect the bumps.
Thank you.
All right, Azrea Osborne, and we still have a little bit of time before we get going in the next race at Le Mans, so might as well talk to one of our favorite drivers to have any conversations with, and that's Mark Kalin. Mark, what happened, man?
Man, I'm over here crying in the corner. Oh, so upset with myself. Got myself a slowdown in the I think it was the first Ford chicane, and I kept trying to slow down and clear it, but as soon as it went to like 0.1 seconds left, it added more time, and it kept adding more time, and I couldn't clear it in time, so it gave me a 40-second stop and hold. But man, I really wanted to go out there and show my teammate that the Ford GT was quick, and I think I proved that with starting 26th and fighting for a top 10 before all that craziness happened at the end with the penalty and whatnot. But man, that was a fast hot rod, and I was having a lot of fun out there battling with these guys.
Oh man, Mark. Well, we did want to know exactly what happened, and we'll actually have to get running because qualifying for the GT3 sprint race is almost over. But have to say, you were doing very well, and you were gaining a lot of positions in that race, and we were quite sad to see that 39th place finishing position. But hey, get him next week.
Absolutely, yeah. Next week, I'm not sure what track we're going to, but I'm going to put in a little bit more practice because apparently the Ford sucks down gas a little bit quicker than these other guys. I may have had to pit for a second stop regardless tonight, so I don't know. We'll have to see.
We will certainly have to see. Next week, you got to respect the bumps, buddy. It is Sebring, and it will be a fun watch in these GT3 machines. Best of luck getting ready for that one, Mark.
Thank you, guys. I look forward to it, and I'm going to try and put on a heck of a show for you.
All right. Mark Kalin, RaceSpotTV's own, and it is GT3 Sprint Series time in the Precision Racing League, and let's get going to Le Mans again. It's the Circuit de la Sarthe, but it's a 40-minute race instead of a 35-minute race with open setups and a few fewer drivers in this field. Lots of Ferraris in it, and it is dark. It is nighttime racing here. Once again, Dylan Coyle and Derek Watson, or Evan Pasoko, whatever you'd like to say, Derek. I'm Dylan, remember.
You're Justin Prince, you're Dane Baird,
I'm all
you're
them.
whoever, you know.
I am all the Jedi, and we look at the overall standings here, and it's dominated by the pro class drivers. Kevin Cantonio with a 9-point advantage over Gergo Baldi, and that's a change in leader in the standings. Baldi was in front at Monza, no longer the case, and Juan Malagon is another just 19 points back of Cantonio. Jason Allen is a bit further back, but nonetheless, it is still a tight battle before we do get that drop week involved here. And as notes, as we look at the AM standings, Chris Long leads by 16 points over Richard Saavedra. Luis Grelon, is 5 points back of Saavedra. So they actually had a bit of issues last week. Monza in the rain. I mean, first of all, that's issues enough, racing in the rain here at Monza, but a lot of connection issues. So the PRL officials have decided that they would have an additional drop week in this 9-race series through the first 8 rounds. So it further complicates the point standings, and we really won't know exactly what the permutations will be until we get to the Nordschleife later on.
Yeah, so as a driver, the only thing you can do is just race it out and don't worry about it and just let it be what it is. But here's the points for the teams. Precision Racing Blues pretty well ahead here of SCR Old Men. Precision Racing Silver is back there at 299, and then it's Crit Sibad Racing Team, Crit Sibad Racing Team Purple, so green and purple there. Championship Racing Collective on down. Well, we are just about wrapped up. In fact, we just crossed the 20-minute mark here, so we're waiting for our last couple cars to get through the course here, and then our group is set. Listen, Dylan, it's a much different race. Now it is nighttime. Some blind corners, that blind crest up through the Mulsanne Straight will play an effect here. This will be a much different race, I think. And a lot of onboard cameras is what our viewers are going to see.
Lots of onboard cameras. It's also going to be kind of difficult to see exactly the positioning of these drivers, considering at least through qualifying here, it is dark. It is difficult to make out these corners, especially some of the blind ones later on in the lap. Boris Avando with a 3.5 advantage over Juan Malagon through the first bit of qualifying, and the lights are off here. I'm going to be like Billy Joel. Can you turn the lights back on?
Oh, there's a good reference. The newest Billy Joel song, a single he released a few weeks ago. And of course, we don't want to be like the CBS Billy Joel special and then like a minute and a half early.
And the lights turned off.
They did, didn't they? Yeah, whole confusing thing there in the schedules with this live TV caught them up a little bit, and but they did re-air it in its entirety. Big Billy Joel fan here, so I was happy to see them re-air it. But listen, last couple cars coming around here.
We are both, Derek, big Billy Joel fans.
Yeah, and not just like this obvious, not like We Didn't Start the Fire, just a good song. Piano Man's a great song, but I'm like New York State of Mind. Billy Joel
yes, fan. Or Summer Highland Falls. Give me some of that. Man, everybody
Vienna,
loves you now. Oh yes.
Allentown.
Oh man, we're just living here in Le Mans town. How about that?
In fact, if you just want, if we could just stop the race and we could probably just quote a Billy Joel song for the next 40 minutes, and I'd
that
be
has happened.
just as happy.
Joey Tebben and I have done that exactly during a broadcast once, as Keith Main stays in 17th. Abner Acosta, one of the only drivers still on track, trying to improve his time, and actually he's running some purple sectors right now. Just went back to green, so he's kind of hovering around, potentially gaining some spots. These lap times are at minimum 3 seconds faster than what we were seeing through the fixed series race.
Yeah, and that's just difference in the setups, right? When you get to play with the setup and choose the way you want it to work for you. Now you're driving how you want to drive it. versus having to learn how to drive the way that a setup builder wants you to drive it. So it can be very massively different. The downforce or lack of downforce in a car can matter. There's a lot of things that can change here in these cars to help you here. But Abner, of course, a PRL favorite, you know, a namesake across PRL, does Tuesday nights, he does Wednesday nights, does Sunday nights. So really, you know, 3 nights a week, you can fight Abner Acosta here on RaceSpot in some form.
Yeah, it's well, Abner just gave up on his lap, so he's gonna have
Scrubbed
to.
the wall, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it looked like that exactly, which is unfortunate for Abner, but he still is going to be starting in the top portion of the field, the top third. That is, there are 38 drivers in this race. 34 have set a qualifying time, and Boris Avando, by far the quickest of them all in the Porsche 911, ahead of a swath of Ferrari 296 GT3 machines. Daniel Krasowski on the outside of row 1, 4/10 back. Kevin Cantonio, Gergo Baldi. That is an interesting second row right there. First and second in the standings. Juan Lemus, Chris Seong, your top 3 rows, while Aiden Young, Martin Chris, Juan Malagon, and Diego Ayer are your front 10, while Abner Acosta and Ethan Bass start in row 6. Continue moving down the order. In 13th is Emmett Lindquist, Keith Maines, while Jeremy Littleton and Kevin Simpson with Chase Wilson and Alex De Almeida in 17th and 18th, Mateus Carvalho and Oliver Rodriguez Santos, the top 20. Fernando Aquez and Jason Hodgson, along with Nestor Santana and Richard Saavedra. Oh, that's a bad starting spot for Saavedra right there in 24th. Adrian Kukalis and Miles Brown, 25th and 26th, while Artie Mercedes and Kyle Colbert, 27th and 28th. Eric Staropoli and Jason Allen, your top 30. David Mendonca, Mendonca is correct there. I don't know why I second-guessed myself. Jack Hedgecox, Ray Dominguez, Chris Stort, David Dalton Jr., Douglas Corey, Sean Murphy, and Devin Brock. There were 38 drivers in the field. You know, I want to say for Kyle Colbert, we are in France, right? Kyle Colbert.
Colbert, yeah, must be related to the
Stephen.
late shows with Stephen Colbert. Yeah, maybe they're related there. So here we are on this piece of the track where we're going to line them up for the grid, not that far from the start line. And in a way, this will be the most lit this track will be all night long. You got 38 cars and a pace car full of headlights lighting up the track ahead of them here. Other than that, this will be a pretty dark race, all things considered, as we roll off here. Well, now I think the trick to this race becomes, honestly, being patient and respecting and fearing local yellow flags.
Yeah, and I feel like as this race does start to get underway, we're going to see that same kind of thing with the final chicane being a very easy start for the top few drivers. They're going to get single file very quickly here, and we're gonna see battles continue throughout this race. But at least at the start, it should be on for Boris Avando to just run away.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out for him. The beginning of this lap here will be a little bit brighter as there's some actual lighting on the track at the start of this lap here. See the track temp 67 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe same as the last race we just ran, but almost 11 p.m. virtual sim time. So be closer to 11:30 or almost midnight before this race is over in sim. So a very late night virtually for some of these drivers.
A late virtual night. Kind of crazy. Yeah, kind of crazy. We love that. Let's get crazy with it. Temperature has not really changed all that much, but did I just see the potential for rain?
I don't think so. I
Or is
pulled
that
the forecast
humidity?
earlier. That would be crazy, wouldn't it? That would be bonkers,
Did
crazy,
did that not just say
bananas. Maybe we can see it again. I don't think it said that. I don't know.
Well, maybe. I'd like to see. I think it was said 50% chance of rain in this race, so that would be quite wild if it does start to fall down and these drivers have to negotiate through 8.5 miles
look at that
before
gap right
changing. Oh my gosh, the gap's going to only grow coming out of this final chicane. The safety car is off 40 minutes here at the Circuit de la Sarthe, and Boris Ovando is on his way. Green in the air. We're probably going to get 11 laps of racing action at the Circuit de la Sarthe, and Juan Balagon already has his hands full with Daniel Krasowski in behind through the Dunlop curve.
As you said, very quickly, everyone here is single file. Look at the back of that camera shot as far back as the eye can see. Everyone's single file here. There's battles on the track here. All the way back, it's Krasowski all over P2 trying to make something happen here. But as you said, Orvando's quickly pulled away here.
Yeah, he has absolutely pulled away. We expected that, but it's over a second now as we head onto the Mulsanne straight. Malagon still holds his advantage over Krasowski, and everyone else just continues to accordion themselves together. We've got a bit of a blinker around 6th place. Couldn't quite see who that was, but it also came with a bit of a slowdown. It was Chris Young.
Chris Young's falling back here, trying to just stay out of the way while he works out that connection problem, and see him getting past there on screen left or right hand side on the track here. Now they're going to go down to the right hand chicane here through Mulsanne, and everyone's going to get through here fairly clean up through the top 6 and start to make their way out of it. Down here eventually to the left-hander. You see it in the back of your screen. More cars. I mean, look at how dark that back of that screen is, by the way. Let's see this real quick here. That's going to be Fernando Jaquez.
Let's see
serving
exactly.
that slowdown.
Yes, that's a horribly timed. Oh no! This was another replay. Douglas Corey, who already started way in the back, is obviously not gotten himself off to the start he wanted. 8 seconds off the lead in P last right now, and it's dark here in Le Mans, France, and these drivers they know that it's going to get darker if they don't stay around traffic, and it's going to get lonely very quickly as Juan Malagon continues to chase down Boris Ovando, and he's done a pretty solid job of keeping Ovando honest here. You don't have to be the fastest once you're in first. You just got to be the slowest while also keeping first place. But that gap hasn't really extended as much as I thought it would by this point.
Yeah, not yet. We'll wait and see how a couple laps play out here and how this race goes. By the way, you talked in the last race about the manufacturers. Look at it here. It is completely one-sided. Yeah, there's a one non-Ferrari up there in Ovando, and there's like 904 of them chasing him down, basically.
Krasowski just made the move on his Ferrari teammate in Juan Malagon, excuse me, not necessarily teammates in anything except manufacturer and car choice right there. Boris Ovando went way wide through that corner. He's struggling under pressure right now with the lead of this race.
Yeah, maybe take a couple of laps here, get it under control, and luckily he's got enough of a gap now that he can make a mistake and kind of learn from it and not feel completely 100% under attack here. So wait and see how that works out for him. And with this being a nighttime race, the good news for these drivers, they also practiced at night, Dylan. So they've had some practice under their belts. It's not as if they practice in the daytime and race at the night. So hopefully by now they have found some new braking markers. They have found those points where they want to get turned in. They know what parts of the track are dark. It should be a little easier than maybe prepping for, say, a 24-hour race.
Yeah, it's going to get just a tad easier on the tires in this race, but I don't think compared to the last race, just because those track conditions, the temperatures are just not high enough to really cause that much loss of grip. However, it's also harder to get the tires up to temperature, especially once you go down the Mulsanne straight. So these drivers start lap 2 here at Circuit de la Sarthe, and it has calmed down a tiny bit for Boris Ovando. Had a nice second half of that lap for him, but everybody in the top 15 within 10 seconds of the lead.
Yeah, so a nice battle here. Less of a gap than we saw in our last race, so Ovando still leading here. So Ovando is also a PRL veteran. At the times done Thursday night races back for the Formula C's and Formula D's. So Ovando, not by any means a rookie PRL, so you see that racecraft is paying off for him here. Let's take a look at this replay here. This will be Olivier Rodriguez Santos. Nice spin, double pirouettes in the back of that shot there.
Oh man, yeah, that's this is proving.
don't.
Oh yeah, stop, don't do it, don't do it. Just wait your turn. You're done at this point. You're in the back of the field. So
Or just turn it.
what happened there?
Oh man. Turn it way to the right. He just lost it on his own. I think he got nervous. That's Sean Murphy. I think Sean. Hold on. Oh, don't please. Sean, I think just got nervous. I think that car sitting there spooked him. And next thing you know, he has looped it around. Hey, is that a car without a headlight?
Oh yeah, think about that. Actually, that's something to think about.
I've had a teammate do that before. It's petrifying.
If you have any damage onto the front of your race car in this race, it's gonna bust out your headlights, which is going to be detrimental as this race continues because it is pitch black, and you are not getting around this racetrack without headlights that properly function. Daniel Krzyzewski, by the way, has overtaken Boris Ovando for the race lead. Ovando had a major issue and is down into 4th. What did we miss?
I'm not sure what we missed, but you're right. There's been a big shakeup here. Now it's Krzyzewski, Malagon, Cantino, and then Ovando. And look, they've even put a big gap here. That's not just a slowdown. There's something else that happened there. He got off track or he slowed up for something. That is a massive gap that they've put on him here. We'll have to wait and see if we can find a replay and see what happened. But that is a game-changing moment, at least for now, at the 34-minute mark.
Currently predicted now to be 10 laps in this race. So we might see a 10 or 11 lap race. And depending on how big the lead is, we could even see drivers start to slow down so they don't have to go through 8.5 miles of this circuit again. But that's in 33 minutes time to necessarily think about. Krzyzewski has a half-second lead that's growing over Juan Malagon, and these two have been fighting for 2nd and 3rd for most of this early going until they got to 1st and 2nd. Kevin Cantonio is right there and almost hit that barrier
and
on the outside.
Target fixation behind him.
Yeah, everyone else kind of sympathy over went the corner and almost hit it as well.
There's nothing more frustrating as a driver when you do that, by the way. I don't care if it's in a road course, an oval. You're just so mad at yourself. You're like, why did I do that? Well, I just followed that guy into the wall. What was I doing? It's
shadow
driving,
driving,
I guess. Yeah, or shadow driving. It can get to you and make you do that. It's so frustrating when it happens here. All right, well, here we go. Now, big gap right here back to this part of the group here. See if I have a little bit of time to make up here. But, you know, I was thinking in my head about nighttime racing. You know, typically when we do this, it's part of a bigger event, such as maybe the 24 hours of Nürburgring is coming up in a few weeks on iRacing, or 24 hours of Spa. But sometimes it's hard for a driver to adjust to this idea, Dylan. You know, if you live West Coast US right now, it is dark in your monitor and bright outside through the windows. That is a weird, I can't use the word I want to use. It's a weird effect in your mind.
Juxtaposition.
Yeah, it's very, very jolting to you to have those kind of conditions. Now, luckily, because it's only a 40-minute race, but in longer races, that can really mess with your sleep cycle. It can mess with your mentality. It can mess with just your vision. The contrast of a dark screen and a bright window.
We should have just gone to France for this broadcast.
I mean, you think Arjuna will pay for it?
I don't know if Arjuna will, but maybe he go.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, if mom says no, go ask dad, basically.
Pretty much that.
There you go. Well, someone who's having a good night is Daniel Krzyzewski. He just set down the fastest lap of the race right there. Remember, in PRL, there's some bonus points we don't often talk about. Dylan, there is the fastest lap, leading a lap, leading the most laps, and getting the pole can all matter as far as bonus points that can help close those points gaps. So right now, Krzyzewski has the one for leading and the one for the fastest lap here with about 31 minutes to go.
Yeah, absolutely understood there. We're talking about, you know, this gap growing now between Krzyzewski and Malagon, but Cantonio is really keeping Malagon honest, and I feel like that's maybe playing into the attack versus defense mentality that you kind of have to keep finding the balance between.
Yeah, that balance is super, super important in any style of racing, to make sure you just really balance yourself and don't hyper focus on one thing, because the other 9 or 10 things can go wrong that you didn't focus on.
Speaking about focus, Garibaldi is in 5th, and that's not good. He needs to focus on getting up and beating Kevin Cantonio, and that's not going to help him.
Well, but speaking of focusing on someone, Aiden Young back in P7, by the way. Aiden Young, part of the Monday night broadcast, a pretty successful GT4 driver on Monday nights. In fact, won last night, so trying to make it back-to-back wins if he could here. Got a lot of time to make that back from P7. But hey, as we saw last race, anything's possible.
Certainly so. Anything is possible, even through the pit cycle. If these drivers can stay within 3 seconds of each other, anything can happen. The pit in times are not going to change that much. You really shouldn't spend more than 14, 15 seconds in your box getting fuel. I predict these drivers to come in at the end of lap 5. Pretty much all of them, if not lap 6. Lap 6 might be pushing it. But lap 5 for sure, at the end of it, these drivers should all come into the pits.
Yeah, there really is no such thing as short pitting here. It's either 4 or 5. I can't imagine doing 3 or 6. So you're right in that tally about it. It's all going to happen together. So it's going to be about when you do it, 4 or 5, how much you're willing to push that limit of the speed limit on pit road can matter. How well you kind of get off of your pit stall can matter, but you're right. It's all going to happen together here. But look at this battle here back for 16 and 17. This is Kevin Simpson and Chase Wilson. Chase also, I believe, part of the Monday night broadcast. See that Simmer paint scheme that we see on Monday. So you see a lot of crossover in PRL amongst the different series. Just kind of shows you how popular and respected this league is.
Yeah, PRL has a ton of solid series, and some may argue that the GT3 night is one of, if not the biggest night of racing for the series. There's a bunch of them. Cup Series on Sunday nights. On Mondays, you've got some prototype racing. As going wide there was Kevin Simpson. He's going to have to slow down 3 wide on the main straightaway, and I think it's going to be 2 positions for the price of 1 right there for, was that Alex de Almeida? Couldn't quite see if that was him who moved through.
Kind of hard to do in the dark here, and it's kind of hard to see who is who. It's just a big blob of a car going by sometimes. You just kind of have to really stare at your telemetry and kind of hope you can catch a glimpse of a number on the side of a car and go, oh, I think it's that guy.
I think it's that guy. But PRL, sometimes the prototype series on Monday, that's fun too. And Tuesday nights, obviously, you got this GT3 racing. On Wednesdays, you've got some Grand National Series and Truck Series stock car racing. And Thursdays, you've got some open wheel action. 5 days out of the week, you really get a lot. And you can watch all those Precision Racing League races on RaceSpotTV. Sometimes with yours truly, sometimes with Derek. It's truly.
Yeah, other people as well. Mark Kalin, who you just did an interview with, he is part of the Thursday night broadcast, the Super Formulas himself and Reese Gardner. So lots of fun stuff. Myself and Joey Tebben on Mondays, myself and Justin Prince on Wednesdays. And it's really just a cavalcade of stars, if you will, all week long on in the commentary booth. Well, man, a little cavalcade here is just a nice little lot of a leader path going on. Look at that different color headlights, that yellow headlight in the back. But that would bother me as a driver, I think, to have that yellow hue all over the back of my mirror.
I was thinking that earlier in the race as well. It would be quite bothersome, maybe. But if you have the yellow headlights, does it look a little bit different heading into each corner? I would say not much, but enough for the drivers in front to recognize who you are and where you are. Maybe the lack of anonymity is good or bad. I don't know.
Maybe not. Yeah, right. I believe it's Aiden Young back there with the yellow headlights, by the way. So, yeah, if anything happens where you get bumped by a car with yellow headlights, Aiden can't really say, oh, I didn't do that. It's going to be pretty obvious. It's probably Aiden Young, right? Those headlights, of course, are a real thing in real-life racing. Depending upon the series, I know for IMSA, all GT3 should have that color headlights. That helps kind of distinguish the car classes when they're coming up behind you or in front of you. So maybe eventually we'll see that happen in iRacing as well. But here we are, 25. We're already 15 minutes into this race here, and really up front. I mean, it is still a tight battle, much tighter than we saw in the first race. Here's your leader, Daniel Krasowski, part of Precision Racing Blue, and it's really, I mean, you know, yeah, it's what, 2 seconds now over what just happened. Borisov, those times all went back very quickly.
Juan Malagon, what happened to Juan Malagon?
Yeah, I was reading the scoreboard, and he fell back quickly, and now it's Borisov Vondo by 2 seconds. Let's see this wreck here.
Oh no, this is horrible. Malagon has towed it back to pit lane. This is coming into, I believe, Indianapolis here, and we'll see.
Oh no.
No, down the inside. That's just, it's not a good moment, and I'd like to see it again, but it almost felt like Borisov Vondo was just leaned
Trying
on
to
him.
push something, yeah, that maybe shouldn't have been pushed in that corner. Maybe we can never see it from Borisov Vondo's car make more sense. But for right now, what it's done is it's really given our race leader a massive gap. Look at that. It's still growing 3 seconds. I'm guessing Ovando may have a little bit of damage from that wreck that may be slowing him up. Because right now, these guys are at what point? We're what, 2 seconds, 3 seconds behind. Now just second place is 2 seconds behind. I think Ovando now, by the way, is back to P5 again.
He is, and Ovando is now under threat from Aiden Young with those yellow headlights. The Ferrari battle with Ovando being the only Porsche within the top 10 at the moment. Ovando trying to fend off some challenges, and Cantonio, I think, got a slowdown as well going down the Mulsanne straight. That is not the moment you want to have a slowdown, and that's a massive one. He's still slowing it down here.
Yeah, that's, if you would have a slowdown there, you need to get out of the way and let these guys by. But that was not what happened there. So
all of a sudden, that's huge for Baldy, who's now in the P2. Remember the championship battle between them.
Yeah, I was trying to say, this race has changed massively the last 4 minutes. What we thought was at one point was a 1 second gap is now turned into a 4 second gap and is growing. And Kozowski now can breathe a sigh of relief here. Can almost back up the car a little bit, save a little gas. Don't need to push here, Krasowski. You have nothing to worry about for the moment.
Yeah, remember, you don't have to drive as fast when you're in the lead. I know I keep saying that, and it's kind of a weird thing to say, right? Once you have the lead, you control the pace of this race. And we get a look at a replay here of what happened to Emmett Lindquist. What the heck happened to him?
Just caught that grass and that curbing, I think, and the car is kind of so hard to hold on to once that happens, and this went into that wall on the upside of the track, really shot through like a torpedo. I was concerned he was going to hit someone, but luckily that is not what happened here. As now we see back into this battle for P2. There's your leader all the way up there. That's a great shot that shows you the gap between P1, P2. This is Baldy, Nemus, Ovando, and Aiden Young, 2, 3, 4, and 5, all locked together. And right now, I think Aiden Young's in the best spot. Yes, he's in P5. He's part of a 4-car train. I can't imagine how he's not saving some gas in the back of that line.
He might be saving some fuel right now, but I don't know how much it would impact these drivers. Now, if right now, this lap, we're going to see drivers head into the pits. Here's a move. Borisov Vondo going down the inside of Juan Lemus. Got to give him the space. He did just that, and they're still side by side.
Yeah, they're still side by side. It was a scary moment right there in that tight corner. But what this will do for Young, if he is saving gas, it's going to get worse. Hold on, maybe that thought come back around later.
Oh, no. Oh, look at Aiden Young. He was thinking about going for it.
Yeah, he wanted to go for it. But yeah, you know what? Maybe not.
Yeah, he's being held up big time right here, but he's going to hope to get a big run as these two continue to slow each other down around these fast corners. Borisov Vondo with a brave move around Juan Lemus to get the position, and now Aiden Young smells blood in the water.
Yeah, doing a great job here, was patient. Now they're all single files, so the pace will pick up a little bit here. We'll see who does and doesn't pit. 1 and 2. Let's see, I suspect at least one of them will pit here, maybe not 2. Let's see. Nope. Mo Takers, none of them actually pitted there.
Yeah, none of them went into pit lane there, which is
if I was Aiden Young, I would have pulled in there and got out of these guys' way, I think.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that nobody did and no one continues to do so. So I guess everyone's saying we can make it to lap 6. The end of lap 6 is when I expect almost everybody to come into the pits. If I don't know how they could think about making it to 7 complete laps here on 1 tank of fuel. I don't know if that's even possible. As we see
Yeah,
the battle
I
parade.
agree with you. It's really not, I think, here. Here is Martin Crisp and Jack Hedgecox back here, 8 and 9 with Chris Young back.
So let's talk about the pace of this race, because we are around 12 minutes, or I'm sorry, 19 and a half minutes. I was thinking laps remaining, 19 and a half minutes remaining. Goodness me. We are around 30 seconds, 40 seconds into this lap. Lap times have been just under 4 minutes. We're estimating right now 11 laps. It would probably at that point go over 43 and a half minutes in total race time. But it really depends on the pace of this race. Pit stops are going to change it considerably. We still might just see a 10-lap race. It's going to be 10 or 11 laps. We're on lap 6 here.
It depends on the pace of the leader, because right now he is crushing that pace. I mean, you've got still a 4-second lead here, so you can almost see you need to maybe back up the pace so he can make the race 1 lap shorter, 1 less lap, or something could go wrong, you know, and some weird thing could happen. You definitely
remember
want
pit
that
stops.
if you are the leader. Yeah, pit stops are still coming as well. So, man, see a line of cars in the back of that shot there. And back to Crisp, Hedgecox, and Seung here, 8th, 9th, and 10th.
I'm almost thinking that we're going to only see a 10-lap race here with 4 more laps after the pit cycle happens on this lap. That's at least what I'm thinking, because if laps are just under 4 minutes in length, that's probably 15 minutes, 40 seconds. If it's a 40-second pit stop, then 45-second pit stop, you're looking at 16 minutes, 20 seconds, 16 minutes, 30 seconds, and we still have a minute and a half left plus in this lap. I'm thinking 4 laps. After, yeah, I know.
So here's the important question, though. What kind of grades did you get in math class in school?
I went to all the AP calcs in high school.
Okay, just because you attended the classes and you passed it, though.
Hey, I got A minuses and B pluses.
All right, that's better than me. I'll trust your math then. But here we go. Look at this pass. That's Aiden Young up for P4, by the way. He got around Ovando and put Ovando back to P5. So Aiden Young found a spot there and went in and has now made up a spot here. Now running down Lemus. And let's see what happens here. Nope. Through that corner, they're going to be fine. This is an onboard here. I believe this is with Ovando. That's Aiden Young. I believe that fiercely forward machine right ahead there.
This is a great onboard, and look at that purple illumination in the Boris Ovando Porsche 911, the only Porsche that's really competing for points in the top 10 in this race right now. And it's also a good time to talk about the Pro and Am class battle. Diego Ayer, who has been fighting for positions with Martin Crisp as the leader in Am. Chris Seong right here is in that battle as well through these fast corners. The Porsche curve has already been passed. I mean, the amount of dirty air here, it's much more than we'd see in most parts of this track. But I expect everyone to come down into pit lane pretty much right now. I'd be shocked if they continue moving for another lap's time. And look at that, Krzyzewski into the pits. Everyone coming into pit lane here. It's a madhouse.
Yeah, everybody at once basically is what we're going to do here. So if you can make up a little bit of time with your foot, just, you know, pressing the limit of that speed limit or whatever you can do, get in your box a little bit better than the person around you, you might make up a spot here. I mean, look at that board on the side of your screen. 13th, 14th on ahead, all on pit road altogether.
It is, I don't think I've ever seen a tightly contested field like this all come down into the pits at the same time. This is a very strange sight, but it has to happen here, and we'll see what the pace is once they come out of the pits. Daniel Krzyzewski is out 47.3 seconds in the lane. That is so long compared to some of the other drivers. Juan Lemus only spent 43.4 seconds in pit lane. That's a 4-second gain, and that's the reason he, on our timing screen, is currently being shown in second place.
Yeah, we'll wait a lap for timing and scoring to catch up with some drivers who got to pass the line before their pit stall. Some people had to wait, so it'll take a second maybe for those to catch up here. But there's your leader, Krasowski, no big surprise. And in fact, but they've cut that lead down. Look at that. At least as of now, look at that pit stop difference. Juan Lemus, 3 seconds difference over Krasowski. Only a 12-second stop. 13 seconds for Cantonio. Aiden Young, 17.9. Whatever I thought he was doing by saving gas, I guess not.
I think that's a error on the timing sheet for Hedgecox.
Yeah, or he's getting inspected post race. One of the two.
Oh yeah, that's you don't get the fuel you need in 0.2 seconds on pit lane. Up 9 spots in this race. Well, or maybe he has to come back down and he underfueled or did something by mistake. We're still unsure if it's going to be a 10 or 11 lap race at this point. We'll be able to tell you with more clarity the next time Daniel Krasowski crosses that start-finish line, if he is the leader by that time. But 2.5 seconds over Juan Lemus, Gergo Baldi 4 seconds back of Krachowski. The top 5 have separated themselves from each other after that pit stop cycle very quickly.
So I was processing this thought in my head, what you said about this could be a 10 or 11 lap race. And I think what happened here with Juan Lemus is he's predicting 10. He went ahead and took that 12-second stop, but everyone else around him went ahead and put enough gas here for an 11. I think if this turns into an 11 lap race, Juan Lemus might be in trouble.
Yeah, that's the only
way you get a 3-second gap on someone is by taking way less gas.
That is a extremely solid point there as we ride on board with Chris Young in 8th, chasing down Jack Hedgecox in that Ferrari. They're both in Ferraris right there. Really solid run for the number 18 out of Mulsanne. We'll see if he gets the drive going into Indianapolis and Arnage.
See what happened here. Nice, and there's maybe some bump drafting right there down that straight. Both cars trying to catch a little speed, little advantage there. There looked to be very little gap between them there for just a moment. You know, I will say, man, look at that great shot right there. There's this new trend, if you will, in road course racing where bump drafting has become, I guess, accepted would be the right word, Dylan. I'm an old man. I yell at clouds. I know that. That's what Evan Pasoko tells me. But I hate the idea of bump drafting in GT3 cars.
That is a very odd thing.
The risk and reward is just not there for me.
I tend to agree with you on that one. Heck, even in stock car racing, you've got to line up your bumps extremely carefully, and it doesn't always happen the way you want it to happen, as Hedgecox went way wide through that corner, had to take his foot off the throttle to avoid hitting that safer barrier, the one safer barrier part of this racetrack. And that could have been disastrous.
Yeah, for both of them, in fact. Had he hit that wall, he would have collected the car behind him. This is back in P27, by the way. There's a single car spin. Got it fully turned around.
Nice little donut.
Look at that. Does the responsible thing. What's the weight here? Just turn it way right. Turn it way right and get moving. There you go. Oh, there was a headlight in the back, but it would have been okay. Well, I want to talk about technology for a second, Dylan. There's a lot of technology.
Wait, sir. Sir.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think we have a 10-lap race. I think.
He's got the abacus out. Speaking of technology, abacus, a calculator, spreadsheet, other factors here. But we'll talk about technology here. They're cool. A couple cool ideas, of course. There's always ways drivers can drive, whether it be single monitor, triple monitor, or VR. Some drivers even use third-party things at night races, Dylan. I know some drivers, including myself, use a software with smart lights that will help kind of light up your room, depending upon the lighting of the track. So if there's a car turned around, it'll help light up your room a little bit and kind of tell you there's something ahead of you that you should be aware of.
I mean, if we're talking about out of sim equipment, I find that very interesting, actually, to talk about.
There's a lot of technology involved in sim racing that we don't often talk about.
Yeah, 100%. Some drivers will use the butt kicker to get some haptic feedback to more than just force feedback through the wheel. It gives them a bit of a kind of knowledge, kind of, you know, the feeling in the body of a race car that you really can't get through sim racing, through normal means. So something like the butt kicker allows you to feel the sensations of tire slip and when you feel where the car is on its edge most of all.
Yep, and even a couple companies that are making sim pedals that will provide that haptic feedback to your feet. I know Fanatec, the V3s have it. I think it's Sim Magic, I think now has this feature as well, where your pedals will begin to vibrate if you lose the car. So you can kind of get that haptic feedback that way. So lots of technology that can be used here. And that talk of the butt kicker is interesting to me because that Mulsanne straight is anything but smooth. That would be a very, very bumpy ride with a butt kicker under you.
Yes, it absolutely will be. And of course, next week will be a little bit crazier and a little bit bumpier at Sebring. Yeah.
And that would be quite bumpy. I hadn't processed that thought. You're right. That would be. Ooh.
It's Sebring is one of those tracks that if it had no bumps, yeah, the layout's pretty solid, but if it had no bumps, the character would be completely gone.
The personality and the character would be missing for sure. But here's Chris Seung back here in P8 trying to run down Hedgecox still and make that pass happen here. And you can barely tell that Hedgecox has a black and yellow car under the lighting that we have. And oh, there went Seung with a little bit of connection problem. We'll see if he can get that sorted out here with about 8.5 minutes to go. Probably about 3 laps left.
Maybe. I think it's going to be extremely tight no matter how it shakes out. Where is Daniel Krasowski? That's my big question. Where in the world is Daniel Krasowski? Because he is still trying to finish up this lap. There he is. It's going to be...
He's coming to the line right now, so you figure at 4-minute laps roughly, estimating, he'll come by next time with just time on the clock. I mean, it'll be super close.
Line now, 7:54. If his last lap was a 3:55, so 7:54, you do the math, and all of a sudden 7:50, it would be the combined length of 2 laps at that time with 4 seconds remaining. We'll have to see.
There's Hedgecox, by the way.
Oh, no.
Turned around. That's not good for him. Got it looped around pretty quickly and kind of kept moving here. Doesn't look like he hit anything, but it's kind of hard to tell in that dark camera shot. But either way, got that car moving a lot faster than most other spins we've seen tonight. So we'll see how that car behaves in that manner. Well, like I said earlier, I believe Juan Lim is right now only 2.5 seconds back. If your 11 lap estimate is right, I think Juan Limas will fall way, way, way down the leaderboard here. But this is Alex De Alameda and David Mendonica for 12th and 13th here as they are racing this out here.
Yeah, that was this is going to be an interesting battle as it will continue on. I mean, all these drivers are kind of just waiting. They're not aware whether or not they'll have 2 or 3 more laps left in this race. So a lot of drivers who are maybe planning for only a lap and a half, 2 laps left might be surprised to know that there could be an additional 8.5 miles. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all hoping and whatever.
Not all of them.
Well, Daniel Krasowski, they're all hoping, most of them are hoping that he slows down here and takes the white flag. He's sort of the one in control of this. If he turns down a hot lap, he could barely get under that timing line with some time left. We'll have to wait and see here. Now, what I think could be interesting about Juan Limas is, typically in road racing, when a car has less gas in it, it's going to go a little faster as that run goes on and it burns off the fuel and the car gets lighter. I'm curious if Limas with that less gas, maybe in the last lap or so, could start to eat at that gap just by having a lighter car that runs faster.
Juan Limas gained a few tenths there the last few moments as Chris Seung is starting to chase down Martin Crisp for 6th place. And Seung, of course, was fighting with Jack Hedgecox when that contact was made. Abner Acosta in 8th, so he's made up a few positions since the start of his race. Solid drive for Abner in this one. Abner is one of the top PRL Cup Series drivers, and he has certainly helped himself out here with a good run in this GT3 Sprint Series race. As we see the gap between Wilson and De Almeida is coming down a 1/10 here. Big run for Wilson on De Almeida. Will he try to make a move coming into Indianapolis? It's going to be tough.
Yeah, it will be a tough corner here. Arnage will be the next corner. Here he goes, makes the move. Now looking to the left side. This is the outside contact, and he will complete the pass with some contact. That will need to be reviewed later about who, what, when, where, and why. And De Almeida will sit here for a second.
A very similar looking incident to one we saw in the GT3 Fixed Series race. Diego Ayer, the AN class leader by far in this race. Looks like the gap right now is very close between he and Abner Acosta. We're riding with, looking at Abner's shot. Diego Ayer fell back considerably through the first couple of corners in this final sector, as Daniel Krasowski, I think, is crossing the line or has just crossed the line. We'll see exactly where he is. This is going to be important to see how much time is left in this race. Krasowski's just passed it. I mean, it's going to be close, but we should have 2 more laps left.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see here. I'm trying to get a little view back here when you went under the board. Look at Aiden Young, just turned the fastest lap of the race, by the way, trying to take that point away from Krasowski here of that bonus point for fastest lap.
Martin Crisp and Kevin Cantonio, as well as Chris Seong in this battle right now. Crisp got a bit squirrely coming through this first sector here. Cannot necessarily get the car settled down here. Oh, this is not looking good through the S's.
No, it is not looking good at all. Nice battle going on here.
Will he get a slowdown? Did he go off track at all? Maybe not enough for a slowdown to be in effect, but he's got the slipstream off of Kevin Cantonio. Chris Young has the slipstream off of Martin Crisp. I mean, it could be a situation where they're almost all coming together into this first chicane that opens up to the right. Defense, offense, all of it coming together. Martin Crisp in the middle of this sandwich, and he's going to have to try and get this machine set up for both the attack and the defense right here. They all go a little bit overboard when it came to that on throttle time out of the chicane. They're still right there with each other.
By the way, can't confirm when our leader went by that time. Barney the Flagman did not have the white flag in his hand. This is not the last lap of the race by any means. We will, as far as I can tell, go around one more time here. So this is not, I think that's horrible news.
Here's a potential move. No! Chris Seong comes back onto the track.
No.
2 cars make contact with him. It was Abner Acosta as well, I believe, as Ethan Bass. Oh no! Seong just overcooked the tires here.
Try to make the pass on the inside. Just goes in too hot. Really a weird way to spin that car. But oh man, you're right, got hit twice. I missed the first hit the first time. I saw the second one. It is odd that he got hit and that car spun in that direction, but that's what happened there. And now he'll finish the race on pit road. Well, that'll cause some changes down the grid. Nothing that will affect the lead per se.
Krasowski's slowing it down. I think he wants this race to end right here.
We'll wait and see what happens here. I don't want to say too much and be wrong about the rules, but
yeah,
without the white flag coming out last time, I don't think he has a choice, to be honest with you. But we'll wait and see what's going to happen. He is slowing it down, though, as now, because Lemus has really closed that gap a lot. At one point was a second more than what it is right now.
Half a lap ago.
Krasowski is slowing it down pretty hard. Is Krasowski worried about fuel?
I wonder. I mean, Juan Lemus should be the one that's worried about fuel at this point in the race. But we'll have to rejoin that. Is this race over in 40 seconds? We don't think so, but it could be. Juan Lemus currently chasing Krasowski, but as well as Cantonio chasing Martin Crisp. Crisp getting into 5th. Cantonio back into 6th place. Garibaldi is championship rival right now on the final step of the podium, having himself a boring race. Seconds ahead of this battle, and 10 seconds ahead of this battle, and 3 seconds behind the battle for second. Daniel Krasowski coming through the final Ford chicanes. We're going to have one more lap of racing here.
That does appear to be the call there. And yet, one more time around, the clock just hit 0 after he got by. So with the pace he's keeping, that is what happened here. There goes Juan Lemus. I told you,
Great
he planned
call,
on 10
Derek.
laps.
Absolutely fantastic call from you, Derek. You just redeemed yourself.
Finds a nut every now and then, you know?
Seriously. You just redeemed yourself with that one. And look at this. Cantonio can't make it.
Yeah, there's a few drivers who are probably disappointed.
Mendonca can't either. I mean, this is huge for the championship with Kevin Cantonio. Garibaldi has moved in second.
Hedgecock's up to 7th. Chase Wilson up. Ethan Bass up to 5th. Look at all the changes happening left side of your screen. That's up and down the board. Positions are changing here because of what's happened here. Aiden Young up to 3rd after all the shuffling.
Oh, man, Nestor Santana had to come down pit road as well, pit lane. And, I mean, the only driver that it worked out well for, really, more than anybody, is Krasowski, because he just has to pace himself for the next, I don't know, give or take 6.5 miles he's got left on this circuit. Less than that probably at this point. We've got a battle for 8th, and that's because Juan Lemus just came out of pit lane. He was just battling for the race win. He was in second. There's no chance of 3rd catching up to him. And now he's just fighting to get into 8th place. I mean, this is very, very bad for where his championship is. He already has a DNF, so he's already used one of his drop weeks. But remember, he does have a second drop week that he is getting because of the race control ruling after last week's race.
Yeah, you hate to think you're already in a spot, though, in week 5, or you kind of are mentally thinking you've used both of them. But you're right, they do exist for a reason here. See the number of pit stops on the side of your screen. Some drivers making 2. Man, this makes me wonder what Krasowski slowed down for. We'll see if we can ask him post-race in the interview booth about what that was about here. But he's got a comfortable 5.5 second lead now over Baldy.
Yeah, this is a comfortable lead for Krasowski. Use all of the time that you have given yourself. But Juan Lemus has made his way into position number 8 in this one. I think that's all he is going to get unless there's a mistake from any of the drivers up in front. Diego Ayer leads the AM class. Miles Brown in the 13th overall, 2nd in the AM class. Wilson still within striking distance of Juan Lemus, but is going to have to try and get a move done pretty soon.
Yeah, running quickly out of time here in the final lap. And the time is quickly ticking here. You see that illumination again of the purple inside that car. Here's your leader, Krasowski. Look at that gap back to 2nd place. Nice and comfortable here as they come through the final corners one last time.
The people will hear from him one last time.
Oh, he's going to hear from the people, especially those who only wanted a 10-lap race. The Discord will be busy for Krasowski with a few upset drivers who was like, hey, slow down.
Well, they are all at the mercy of the leader in that situation, and Juan Lemus actually was in the same boat. Juan wanted it to slow down too, but if it slowed down anymore, then he might not have had a chance to win this race too. So, it's really the leader's chance to decide the pace of the race, and Daniel Krasowski has done just that. Crosses through the final Ford chicane and will win it here at the Circuit de la Sarthe for Precision Racing Blue. What a solid race overall for Daniel Krasowski in the 37 machine. Baldy
here
in 2nd with Aiden Young completing it now. What you got? Baldy just set the fastest lap.
Oh, snuck in there last second. Got the fastest lap from Aiden Young. Aiden Young was going to get that point. Baldy said, hey, hold my cup.
Look at that. A move was just made. It appears between Ethan Bass and Diego Ayer. What happened there?
Well, there's some frustrated drivers there because I saw some blinking headlights, whatever it was.
Frustration or excitement to be finished with the race?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Oh man, drivers still finishing it up here in this one. You still see some positions all swapping around, some of it just certifying the results as we're now a minute past the race ending and only around, give or take, a minute or so full of drivers still who need to cross the line for this race to be official. Currently seeing that 26 drivers finished on the lead lap. The rest were at least one lap down in this race. Definitely more attrition in this one than we saw out of the fixed result.
Yep, and that can happen a lot with the different setups. Maybe a driver doesn't have a setup that's compatible. It can happen that way. Well, here are your results, Dylan.
Yeah, Krzyzewski wins the race with Garibaldi and Aiden Young as your podium finishers. Martin Crisp, Ethan Bass, look at that. The Ford is in P5 with Ethan Bass finishing there. Diego Ayer will bring the AM class win home with a 6th overall finish there in the Ferrari. Jack Hedgecox, Juan Lemus, Chase Wilson in 9th with the Lamborghini, the highest finishing Lambo in the field. And Mateus Carvalho, we haven't really talked about him at all, but he finishes in the top 10. Jason Allen, Miles Brown, Kevin Cantonio, big finish for Baldy in this race, not only getting second while Cantonio gets 13th, but Baldy also got that fastest lap, so that's big for the championship. Kevin Simpson in 14th with Eric Staropoli, Emmett Lindquist, Jason Hodgson, Artie Mercedes, Richard Saavedra, and Chris Stort, your top 20 finishing drivers. David Dalton, Kyle Colbert in 22nd. David Mendonca, Nestor Santana, Adrian Kukulis, Ray Dominguez, and Abner Acosta. Oh, that's got to hurt Abner more than most people with how that race kind of finished off for him with the incident at the end there, finishing the last car on the lead lap at 27th. Chris Seung, as well as Jeremy Littleton and Alex De Almeida, Keith Maines, Douglas Corey, Sean Murphy, Boris Avando, Juan Malagon, Fernando Jaquez, and Oliver Rodriguez Santos. Your 37 finishing drivers, Boris with the worst drop-off from where he started the race yet. Well, Daniel Krzyzewski, the winner of this race, is alongside Derek Watson.
Well, what a both exciting and not exciting race, I think, for our race winner, Daniel. That was a pretty nice drive out there for you.
Yeah, it wasn't that exciting. I wasn't expecting to have decent pace today, and there was looked like there was a lot of slowdowns, a lot of underfueling going on, so it was pretty lonely.
So we have to ask the question that really got us up in the booth here. Towards the end of the 9th lap, looked like you were trying to slow down. Were you thinking about maybe just kind of cutting the race down to 10 laps? Did you have a slowdown you were serving? All of a sudden, Juan Lemus got really close to you.
Yeah, actually, teammates in Discord were begging to slow down to make it 10 laps, but I said I couldn't because Juan was 2 seconds behind me.
Yeah.
So I apologized to them. A bunch of them had to pit, but Juan, I was pretty sure he underfueled, so I had to make it 11 laps, or he might have caught me, right?
Yeah, he was about 3 seconds faster on pit road than you were. So, well, a great run here for Precision Racing Blue and a great points night for you. Next week is Sebring. What's your outlook for that?
Depends how busy I am this week, and I have a new baby, 9 months old, so it keeps me busy.
Nice.
So we'll see.
On that.
But I'd like to dedicate this win to my wife, Justina, and my baby boy, Miłosz.
There you go. Well, listen, great job on the run tonight, and we'll see you next week.
All right, cheers, guys.
All right,
Bye.
thank you for that. All right, that is your race winner, finishing P1. Let's go ahead and keep the train moving. Let's head over to Garibaldi. And, well, P2 was a solid run on a crazy, crazy last lap.
Yeah, hi everyone. Yeah, P2 at the end. I'm not that satisfied with that, but I've been struggling through the whole preparation, both with the tire temps and both with the lower downforce. You know, the combination of that made it really difficult for me to find the confidence. So yeah, I took a safer approach, and yeah, feels not so bad. But yeah, in the future I'll need to sort out these kind of mistakes, like yeah, not having the right right tire temp in colder conditions.
Well, are you happy that next week is Sebring?
Yeah, I am. If I want to be honest, I haven't done any races before the week on Le Mans, so it was like probably one of the first races. Yeah, the third race. Sorry, third race for me here. So yeah, I missed some experience on iRacing on Le Mans, but yeah, on Sebring I've done a couple ones, so I'm pretty happy that it will be the one. I don't know how the weather will be there. Do you know?
Yeah, the weather could be. Who knows? Rain could definitely change things up a little bit. Are you hoping for the rain, or are you hoping for dry?
Doesn't matter. Actually, it will be the same for everyone. If you know, the game can remain reliable, it's like in Monza. Yeah, if it's reliable, then it's fine. It can add some spice to the races. So yeah, whatever happens. It will be the same for everyone.
All right. Well, listen. Well, great job tonight on P2, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. See you next week, and congrats to Daniel. He was really fast today.
There you go. That's Garibaldi over there in P2. And now let's talk to the man who finished P3. I just did this interview like 24 hours ago, I think. Aiden Young, P3 at Le Mans.
It seems like you're my favorite person now, Derek.
Oh, well, thank you. That's a compliment.
You interviewed me last week. You interviewed me yesterday, and now today.
So I guess what I'm being told is I can't ever not broadcast now when Aiden Young is racing, because now I'm like his rabbit foot, or his whatever you got over there.
You know, my secret to the podium today was ice cream.
Well, it's not like your secret to the podium today, although I'm going to come back to the ice cream topic. Your secret to the podium today was putting enough fuel in the car, unlike a lot of your competitors.
Yeah, I overfueled a little bit. I probably could have gone maybe, I don't know, a liter and maybe half a liter less or a liter less. But I wanted to be safe than sorry, so I just told my crew chief to add in an extra half a liter than what I had already added, just because I wanted to be safe, make sure I was able to finish the race, and it worked. I was maybe a little heavy, that maybe didn't help me a bit in the straights, but I came out safe and it worked because the other guy, I don't know what happened to him. I saw him in front of me, and then I saw him pit, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Our guess from the booth is a lot of drivers were anticipating a 10-lap race. Yeah, when you see the broadcast back, you'll see there's a lot of drivers who pitted at the end of that 10th lap who just weren't ready for the 11th lap, I think.
Yeah, Daniel was quick. He was quick enough to be able to get up for everyone. I think that's what threw everyone off, because I was like, I think it was around 34 minutes, and I was like, oh, this should be the last lap. We crossed the line. I'm like, wait, there's no white flag?
Right. Yeah, that was definitely a moment there. Well, listen, you did well last night. You did well tonight. What's on the dock, Aiden Young?
Chill, practice, get ready for next week. Aragon, and then whatever track is for, Sebring. Yeah, get ready for Aragon and Sebring.
Right.
I do like Sebring. That is another track I am good in GT3. I'm not like the best, but I'm decent. So hopefully another good result.
All right, well, we're going to end the interview with the most important question I can ask you. You said the secret to tonight's win was ice cream, so the world has to know, what kind of ice cream?
Chocolate chip cookie dough.
That's my guy right there. That's why I'm your favorite person, because that's the best answer. You didn't say something wimpy like vanilla or birthday cake or strawberry ice cream.
I also like cookies and cream.
Right there. Right. Yeah, see? I'd accept that. Even like a mint chocolate chip would be good. You have good taste, Aiden Young.
I'll throw you in a scoop of ice cream next time.
Let's go. All right, Aiden Young, great job tonight. See you next week.
See you next week.
All right, well, Dylan, that is your podium interviews for our race here at Le Mans.
That's crazy. For you. You got the love that you needed. Do you
Is
feel
that
better?
Lawrence and the Machine? You got the love.
Oh, I actually
can't
don't
sing.
know.
I think it is. I shouldn't sing on broadcast for multiple. First off, because of the
Oh,
NCAA. Second off,
God.
because what I do is not really singing. So let's just move on.
Fair point. All right. Sebring next week, or next week, I should say. It's going to be a lot of fun. Love this track. I got to go here for the 12 hours just around a month and a half ago. It was a great time. We'll burn some couches at the end of the broadcast. I think that's part of the deal here with PRL and RaceSpotTV. But nonetheless, two very solid races at the Circuit de la Sarthe Avant-Garde du Mans circuit. We're excited to continue bringing the action on RaceSpotTV with PRL Grand National Series and Truck Series competition tomorrow night. But for now, I'm Dylan Coyle alongside Derek Watson. We wish you all a pleasant good evening, good night, and good racing.